Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So, mashallah, episode 17 of the Open Forum. And as per usual, Christians are welcome to come and join the stream. They don't have to stick to a particular gospel or a particular letter or epistle or whatever. You can talk about anything you want to talk about, because generally we sort of confine you to speaking about something specific that we're discussing on that day on the gospel stream. So today is your opportunity to come and sort of mix it up a little bit and ask any question in relation to any of the parts of the Bible, and we'll have a nice discussion. Of course, non-Muslims are also welcome. If you're Muslim, this is not the stream for you. This is really reserved very much for non-Muslims and for people of other religions, and people obviously who are Christian predominantly will give you priority. So brothers, mashallah, Imran, you're back again after a week break.
Alhamdulillah.
Mashallah, refreshed.
Alhamdulillah, it's nice to be away, and it's lovely to be back with you brothers, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And Ijaz doesn't have to go away to look refreshed. Mashallah, he always looks refreshed. Alhamdulillah. How are you, brother Ijaz?
Why are you lying? Why are you lying?
You do. You look beautiful, mashallah. You look like, very mashallah.
Men should look handsome, not beautiful. So I don't know what
beautiful,
what
handsome. These are all good words. These are all good words, mashallah. You
got the choir boy flex going on today, brother Ijaz.
No. I gotta say, I'm always happy to be with the brothers. May Allah reward you all. Ameen. And I look forward to today's stream with you guys. I always love when I'm with you guys. Always do.
Alhamdulillah.
And mashallah, Hamza's always football fresh as well in his football shirts, mashallah.
Let them know.
Football fashion.
Football casual, mate. Football casual.
Football casual, alhamdulillah. Any interesting conversations lately, Jazz? Or anything you've seen lately that's interested you in terms of debates or discussions, Hamza?
I mean, Hamza is supposed to be
any
busy
of you guys.
I had a chat with a girl yesterday called Melinda from Wisconsin. It's on my channel, part 1. And she's like, got a friend who embraced Islam a while back, has been talking to her about Islam. So it was a kind of backstory, kind of where we're going, kind of flex. So it was really nice. Yeah. Got a really nice meeting arranged tomorrow with Khalil and Farid and Zaki Hussein to deal with this Kaaba nonsense once and for all. Mr. Irrelevant has been banging around everywhere. We're gonna mash that up. So yeah, all good, man. Alhamdulillah.
Mashallah. I saw a very nice rebuttal or reaction video by brother Muhammad Hijab about the Indian reporter. That was a beautiful, mashallah, beautiful rebuttal he did actually, and it was well needed actually, because it's a shame that people have to resort to lies and dealing with misconceptions and just deceit, really, to try to tarnish Islam. And I think that just really shows the veracity of Islam, that they have to resort to lies and making things up to try to build some sort of a case. And that's exactly what they did to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's exactly what they did to the Sahaba, the companions. They had to make up things and spread lies because they couldn't deal with the truth. And I think, mashallah, that does really show just how the foundations of Islam and the Quran and the Hadith are so well grounded that the only thing they can do is literally, just as I say, make up lies and sort of deception. So it's a really good reaction video. I would urge people to watch it. I think we've got a couple of people already in the chat. I suspect that they're Muslims from their names. So we did say that if you're Christian or non-Muslim, this is the stream for you. We might get one of you or two of you on while we're waiting for some of the Christian or the atheist guests to come on. But please, this is not a Muslim stream at all. But should we just get one or two of them on while we're waiting?
Yeah, we can do.
All right. Brother Ahmed.
Although you're setting a dangerous precedent.
Well, as I said to you, that we won't let them on if we have other guests waiting. So, Brother Ahmed.
Hi, how are you?
Are you Muslim?
I am, yes.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, so
That was so ironic, that wasn't it?
I don't want to take any time. I thought that the open forum, maybe I had a misconception that the open forum was the platform for Muslims as well. Which one is that where you welcome Muslims? I don't want to mix things up.
That's the Dawah Clinic, brother.
Dawah
And
Clinic, okay.
and floor is yours.
And the floor is yours as well. So we do two
Oh, yeah,
streams.
okay.
Floor is
Now
yours and
everything's
Dawah Clinic,
clear.
inshallah.
Yeah, now everything's clear. I'm sorry.
Jazakallah khair, brother, for coming.
I have a couple of questions. If you have time until we welcome more people to the stream.
Inshallah. Go ahead, brother.
So the first one is that I can see that day after day, people get influenced by the work that you do, and I can see that more people want to get into the field of arguments and debates and maybe comparative religions. It might not be their full-time job or something, but it might be like a hobby, something intellectual that they do on the side other than their main job or something like this. But also at the same time, I can see that some people do it very early, do it before that they acquire the required knowledge for such a position. And what I want to know, I have two questions about this. What are the characteristics that one should have to be in that field? I can see two things from your videos, which is patience, and I can see that against everyone. The second one is temper control. I saw recently your video with Buffalo, and I can see how much patience you had, how much time you spent trying to rephrase everything and with it. So that's one.
Video
so if you have any,
Buffalo.
yeah, I think.
Yeah, Pavlov.
Right?
Pavlov. The I think he's Ukrainian guy.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a discussion 2 or 3 years ago, I think. Who was in that discussion, brother?
I demolished Pavlov.
Yeah, exactly. Hamza and yourself, I guess. And I think also Dr. Wacomran. Maybe it was just translated to Arabic just recently, and the video was republished in Arabic translation. That's why maybe I caught it recently. That's the first question. And the second question is, what is your advice for those people who want to get into this field? What should they acquire other than the characteristics? What they should, what's the minimum knowledge they should acquire before getting into this? Or should they just get into the field, trial and error, try to learn by this? Because if they do, I think they might do more harm than good if they don't acquire the knowledge. So I want to hear your opinion about this. Okay,
inshallah. Since Brother Imran is back after a week's break, why don't we open with Brother Imran, inshallah.
It would be my pleasure.
Doctor, the floor is yours. The question. An often asked question, actually, and you're right, you need to have a certain type of temperament to be doing dawah, but really that you need to have a bigger. So let's step back a bit and have a bigger picture view of what we're doing. And ultimately, we should understand that what we're trying to do is to invite people to the Deen of Allah, and we're in that we are trying to present the beauty of Islam to people and point out the errors in their own understanding of how the world is if it's not according to Islam. And so, for the requirements for that is, we try and do whatever we can in the sense of having the temperament that you mentioned already, patience, and not allowing people's bad manners maybe to rile you up. This is all very essential. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that he's not come expect to perfect character, and really this is really when it shows, when you're under pressure, when you're being maybe even mistreated, or the deen that you care about is being maligned in some way. So it's very important to have that. The other side of it is actually you need to be yourself in a strong position in terms of foundationally know the basics of Islam, so that you yourself, when you're faced with questions, and there's always going to be a question that you may not know the answer to, In fact, you should expect that, and this is an opportunity to learn, so you can go away and find out, admit that, and go and learn. But you really need to have the basics down in case you end up making yourself either say things that are incorrect, mashallah, brother Nizam is here, assalamu alaikum, or you end up saying things to people that will take them away from the deen. Either you're giving them information that's incorrect, or they go and check later and they realize actually this person completely misrepresented this. So there's a lot of things. So you have to have the characteristics, you have to have the right intention, and also you have to be on a journey of learning. It doesn't mean you learn because whether we like it or not, if you look like a Muslim, particularly in a Western country, you are representing Islam, and therefore you have to sort of realize that actually your actions are in themselves dawah. So that's just an overall view. I'm sure the brothers will be able to add in more for you, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Dr. Imran. Thank you.
Barakallahu feek.
Brother Ijaz, do you want to add anything to that?
Is that Nizambo's younger brother?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
I'm sorry?
Inshallah. Yeah, I've generally, there are a couple of things that everyone should fulfill, which is their fardul ayn. You need to have a proper foundation in your Islam if you're going to be critiquing or at least breaking down the religions of others to show them why Islam is the truth. If you can't articulate why Islam is the truth, you're going to very quickly find yourself in a bit of a pickle, telling them, yes, polytheism is false, or, worshiping X or Y is bad, but you can't actually tell them why. So in other words, you wouldn't be giving them reasons to help them change their mind. You'll just be telling them that they're wrong, and it will just lead to a quarrel or a disagreement. It's not going to be edifying for either person. And I think, when Brother Ahmed was speaking, he said people start off too early. I think this is partially in reference to that. So I always recommend that people sit down and they study what Tawheed is, if not only for like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, right, properly, with a good course, a good book, and then work your way up from there. If you can't articulate, what a prophet or messenger is, if you can't articulate what the scriptures are and why we believe in them, then, the Christian is going to look at you and they're going to be confused. Why are you telling me these things which you yourself don't understand or know? And that would be a problem. So that's what I would suggest. Knowledge. The other thing I would perhaps suggest is join a group of brothers that do da'wah regularly. Don't just do it by yourself, because then you get to learn from the group, which tends to be a bit more experienced, right? So when I joined the EFDawah, mashallah, I got to see the kind manners of Dr. Imran, the really cohesive nature of Hamza's arguments. I got to see the pleasant tone, but yet the kindness and, the aspirational ideas of Brother Abbas. And I got to see some of the academic Christian aspects from Brother Nizambo. And there were other members of the team that I learned so much from that really benefited me. So something like that is what I would suggest.
I totally agree. And the reason I ask this question is because people get very excited when they watch your videos, and sometimes they even form their own arguments in their heads that might be very suitable for as an answer for something that's being discussed in front of them, and they think at this point, me myself included, and at this point they think that they have an argument, and I wish I had the chance to talk to this one and maybe try to interfere and maybe convince him my own way. But at the moment, they are one-to-one, and they don't have the support of a team, as you said right now. Everything falls apart, and they might start stuttering and trying to look for that piece of info. So thank you all for your advice.
Whoa. Wait a minute. Can I add my advice before you run away?
No, actually.
No, sorry. I'll just add some crumbs at the end, just to No. Basically, what I was going to say is, first thing, you need to be thick-skinned. You need to be in a position that you may come across somebody who will say horrible things about Islam, horrible things about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, and you just can't get emotional.
Sure.
You've just got to start saying to yourself, this person knows no better. Now it's time to correct them. This is the first thing. Second thing, 100% you're going to hear things you may not have an answer to. Don't fudge an answer. Don't try and make an answer up. Don't try and say something that sounds all right.
Yes.
Don't do that, because it will get found out. What you need to do is be willing to say, you know what? I don't know. I haven't heard that before. It's a very good point you're making. Let me take note of that. Let me check it out. Give me a contact number for you if you don't mind, or some kind of way I can get in touch with you. Let me go and find out what the answer is to your pertinent question, and then I'll come back to you. So you've done a couple of things there. First of all, you've shown them that you're being honest. You don't know everything. Yeah?
Yes.
Second thing, you've got contact details of them so you can come back to them. And then when you come back to them with that response, then they might have another question for you, and then you just keep exhausting their questions. So that's the other thing. My motto, isn't it? When I go to the park, I can never lose. I win or I learn. So I'll either win the conversation, win the debate, whatever's being discussed, or I'll learn something new, or I'll go away and learn something. But you can never lose. When you're learning something new, you can never lose.
Exactly.
So that would be my advice to somebody doing that.
Well, definitely, I think everything applies here. Dr. Abbas?
Yeah, before you go, brother, Nazam, do you want to add anything to that, brother?
No, unfortunately, I missed the question.
It was just basically how you should do dawah and what you should, in terms of, what sort of things you should learn and how you should behave. It's just basically how best to do the dawah, really.
Basically, dawah is like a big subject, but there's lots of subtopics within it. So and dawah isn't also just about rebutting or refuting someone else's beliefs, but it's also presenting Islam in a persuasive way. I would say try to find something that you're interested in, whether it's in comparative religions or whether it's to do with the ijaz or miracles of the Quran, or whether it's to do with defending the history or sources of Islam, and focus on that. And also, one of the best ways to learn dawah is actually to teach it to others, because that motivates you to learn. And keep good company, and everything else that the brother said was very good.
One final point, my brother.
Yes.
One final point is that.
Yeah. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother Hamza. I
feel like I'm echoing though. All right. So I was going to say one final point is that if you're dealing with atheists and Christians, know their presuppositions, know what their foundations of what they believe is supposed to be, and learn how to. I'm going to use the words. Learn how to attack that and collapse that. Because if you collapse that, you collapse everything that it's based upon. And so obviously with the Christian, the Bible is their premise. Deal with that. And with the atheists, the idea of random mutation through natural selection is a very good point to attack them with, or the origination of the universe and fine-tuning, just something along those lines. And the idea that belief is not an abstract thing, it's actually something tangible.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought that I was muffling a second ago. Can you hear me well now?
We can hear you clearly. Brother Ahmed, just before I give you a very little, sort of add a little to that, just a reminder, please, this is a non-Muslim stream. We only let on Brother Ahmed while we're waiting for other guests. What I don't want is the Muslims to fill up the back chat and then we can't get the Christian or the non-Muslim guests on. Because Brother Ahmed wasn't sure which stream was for Muslims, that's why we sort of let him on. So please, if you are Muslim in the back chat, please don't block the chat, because we can only get a maximum of 12 people, and then it just doesn't allow anybody else to, I think 10 people, and it doesn't allow anybody else. Brother Ahmad, the only thing I would actually add is that you have to be open to criticism as well. In my last video at Speaker's Corner with Ben, me and Brother Imran were talking to Ben for about maybe nearly 3.5 hours. And actually, I got a lot of negative feedback. And to be honest, I'm actually really grateful for that negative feedback.
Wow, okay.
Because I think the negative feedback was spot on. and a person needs to realize that when they've made a mistake, that they go away, they reflect on it, and inshallah, they improve on it. And rather than become defensive and argumentative, we're human beings. We make lots of mistakes. Sometimes we get taken away with the event, especially when it's live. And we have to take the criticism. Sometimes we make mistakes, we do things wrong, and we should go away. We should be open-minded to sort of go away, inshallah, and learn and do better, because our goal should be for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so everything else, our ego and everything else, and it's very, very difficult to crush your ego at times. Very difficult. It's a battle at times. And may Allah forgive us when we become filled with ego, and it becomes more about winning an argument or not looking bad. May Allah forgive us for that. But it's something you should definitely constantly have introspection about. And when people do criticize you and say, look, you made a mistake, or you said this wrong, or you were interrupting too much, or whatever it might be, the criticism, whatever the criticism is, I'm not saying people are always right, but you have to be open and take the criticism as well. And actually, I want to just say, on a live show, that I'm actually really grateful that when people do give constructive criticism, it's actually very valuable to improve. So that's what really I would add to it.
Feedback never stops. Even at someone with your knowledge and all that, you still keep taking feedback on board, and you never stop at this point. Okay, that's a great attitude, to be honest. And also regarding the point that Hamza mentioned regarding the prepositions of the Christians when discussing with them and all that, I understand that watching a lot of your videos, I think you get a very good idea. If you keep following on, you get a very good idea about their prepositions, because they keep repeating every time. There are not too many. They are basic and all that. Of course, we keep learning every time, and we keep learning all the time. But you guys helped showing us what prepositions do they hold, what kind of evidence do they have, and all that. Also, the second thing that I want to say before I'll leave the floor for our fellow Christians is that regarding people never stop learning. Actually, just give me, I'm sorry, my mic got muted by mistake. So I want to thank you for all the videos that you share, because, to be honest, there are a lot of expressions that we learned through your videos. It was the first time I heard about the infinite regression. I knew it as an info, but I didn't know the term to use. It's the first time I knew about red herring, this term and this expression, the straw man, and the fallacies. A lot of expressions that we can use to clarify our point of view. So thank you all for this sort of knowledge. Thank you for labeling things for us and putting it in scientific terms, or sharing their theories with us. And
please, brother, that's very, very kind of you. Inshallah, but do come on to the floor is yours, or the Dawah clinic. Inshallah, we can have a longer discussion.
Thank you.
Brother Ahmed, Jazakallah khair for coming on. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, guys.
If the back chat is already full, and I can see lots of Muslim names on there. So if you're Muslim, look, we're not going to be able to get you on. I did make the exception because we were simply waiting for guests, and there weren't any guests. Now we have the back chat that's full. So if you're Muslim, please accept my apologies, but we're not going to be able to get you onto the stream. Okay. So one of our favorite participants.
Salam. Can you hear me?
Yes, Rob. How are you?
I'm very good, Abbas. How are you?
We're fine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't really want to come on here and troll. So if you can remind me the remit of the show, because I think I know what it is, but I don't want to start asking questions, making points if it's not the correct show.
Well,
so normally if you could just remind me of the remit.
Yeah, so we normally do the gospel stream every other Sunday, and because Christians would like to talk about other books within the Bible, or the epistles, the letters, or and so we've actually allowed this particular stream, so an alternate stream on a Sunday. It allows you to basically talk about any parts of the Bible, or about any parts of Christianity that you feel that are quite poignant for us to reflect upon. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility, Rob, about what you'd like to speak about the Bible.
It's not for Islamic questions. It's not for
guys, can Rob ask an Islamic question?
I mean, it's not too disturbing. Don't worry, it's not too disturbing.
Okay, go and ask your question, Rob, and we'll see if we can answer it. Go on.
Okay, I did have something else lined up, but I'm going to go back to a Quran question.
Right.
I recently discovered two what I consider to be identical passages in the Quran. Now, I've never come across that in the Bible where you've got two passages that are basically identical. So I just want to get you guys' opinion about this. It's the first one would be 66:9 of the Quran, and the second one would be 973, I think it is. I just want to get you guys' opinion on whether this is basically an identical verse in the Quran, because I've not come across anything similar in the Bible, you know. So I just want to see what you guys' opinion about this is.
Rob, what would their being identical mean?
Well, why on earth would God want to repeat himself? Is he stuttering?
You know,
that's your point, is it? So two verses in completely different chapters, and your way of putting this forward. This is Rob being the nice, wonderful Christian representing Christianity.
I'm trying.
To say that God is stuttering if he repeats himself. Is that what you're saying, Rob? Is that how you're coming across?
You know,
is that how you want to present yourself, Rob? Is that how you want to present yourself?
Imran, Dr. Imran, if I found this in the Bible, I'd be highly disturbed.
Okay. It is in the Bible. It's in Isaiah chapter 37 and also Isaiah chapter 37 and 2 Kings chapter 19. So you have basically two Bible books. They have identical chapters, word for word, syntax, you know, full stop, all identical. So either one is copying the other or vice versa.
Okay, so
has he not? 1 second, Rob. Have you not read the Gospels, the Synoptic Gospels? I would actually say this: if you think it's bad for a book to have identical statements in different places, then no wonder you probably believe Jesus got the Shema Yisrael wrong.
Well, I tend to stick to the Apocrypha, you know, but mainly
stick to the Apocryphal.
You know, what is either contained in KJV or the Catholic Bible, because you know obviously you find more contained within the Catholic Bible.
How does that interact with my point? Or what planet does that interact with my point?
Ijaz, if we are coming across identical verses or something like that, then there's a problem.
Do me the favor.
There's a problem.
Do me the favor. So are you saying Jesus got the Shema wrong? He said it differently.
To give you due respect, Ijaz, you've changed topic.
No, the identical statement. Jesus is asked in Mark chapter 12, verse 29, what is the greatest commandment, or what do I need to, what is the greatest commandment? And he reads that off. And if you're saying if it's identical with Deuteronomy 6, verses 4-6, that's a problem, then you have to concede that if Jesus said the same words as the Shema, then that's a problem for your book. So is it a problem, Rob?
You generally don't see Jesus repeating himself throughout the New Testament.
So he got the Shema wrong, is what you're saying.
I'm not saying that. You're saying that. You're putting
no,
words
I'm
in my mouth.
I'm asking you, does Jesus get the Shema right or does he get it wrong?
Well, all right, look, can you first of all deal with my question and then we can move on?
I'm dealing with your question. If it's a problem, then do you accept that you can't believe in the Bible any longer?
I haven't even seen what you're referring to, so...
You haven't seen Jesus say the Shema? How long have you been a Christian, Rob? This is embarrassing now.
Ijaz, you're with all due respect, you're completely changing the topic.
It's the exact same topic.
Just showing you a mirror, mate.
Well, I want to get you guys' opinion on why we get two identical verses in the Quran.
Rob, just hang in 1 second
and 973.
Rob, just hang in 1 second there. So Nazam started with an absolute, in my view, a blinder, because you said if it was in the Bible, you'd be really concerned. Then Nazam gave you verses that are identical in the Bible, So are you really concerned now, Rob, because of what Nazam said?
I will definitely look into it.
No, we're going to make you look into them now.
Yeah.
We're going to show you now.
Okay. Can we look into my question first, then we can go to that?
No, we're going to see if we're going to see if you're consistent, my friend.
Yeah, well, Hamza, Darren, come on, let's investigate these verses.
Tony, just relax, mate. Relax.
Look, the last thing I want is somebody from ancient times deceiving me with their trickery books. I will find the truth because I don't get played.
Rob, give me 1 second, yeah, because this is the problem now.
I've just had to mute Rob because I think he's descending into.
This is the whole thing. The way that you came on, and the accusation of God stuttering, and I mean, really, this is childish. I mean, I'm disappointed that you, as a Christian, would think that if two verses were identical in different parts of a text, that somehow that would mean that God is stuttering. I mean, what kind of rational, decent human being would consider that's a way of even speaking about God? And then I asked, what would the problem be with that? And your problem was it that you would claim that means that God is stuttering. I mean, imagine this. I mean, imagine the thought process, the mindset of the individual who would even make this claim. But Nazam has shown you two identical passages within the same book, and you're not you're refusing to look at them, and B, you're not even willing to understand. Because for me, it's no issue. If it's important and God wants to repeat it, alhamdulillah, no problem at all. I have no issues with it. It's a non-point for me. I don't even understand why you would bring this point. If you claim that this is somehow God stuttering, I mean, that's your conception of what God may be like. We have no truck with your false conceptions. Now the problem is now, as our brother Hamza said, you're being shown a mirror. You have now in your own text a similar phenomena of things being repeated. I would say a simple thing would be it must be important. This is why it's being repeated. But you now have to have the same concern and ask yourself the same question: is this what you believe about your own concept of the Creator? Now, the decent thing to do is to say, okay, let me have a look at this. And if it is, say you disagree with both of them and you think in both religions that the God is stuttering, you can say that. You can say that. Or say, actually, you know what? I was just making this point because I was being facetious. I'll take it back and I'll be on my way. So I'll let you decide, Rob.
Right. Can I respond to that?
Please try, Rob.
I don't know. Can you?
I don't see how you can respond to that.
Let
me just help you understand what you're responding to, because I know you're going to waffle. Let me help you, Rob. Rob, you can respond. Just let me just add something. Let me just add something, Rob. So what the doctor said, we don't have an issue with if Allah wants to repeat something because it must be important, right? The problem is you've got a problem with God repeating himself. So we don't have a problem. But what we're saying to you is, well, if you have a problem, then respond to the problem you've got in your own books, because we don't care. We believe it must be an important verse that needed repeating. So what? It's not an issue for us, but it's an issue for you, as you clearly demonstrated with your drama. Oh, it's a problem. God's stuttering. Okay, so we don't care. So you shouldn't care what the Quran says either, because you're not a Muslim. We're Muslims, alhamdulillah. We don't mind if Allah repeats himself to emphasize a point. We got no issue with that. So it's not an issue for us. What we want to understand now is, do you take your concern now with your belief because you are a Christian? And as Nazam pointed out, God repeats himself in your Bible, verbatim, word for word. Now what? So that's what you're responding to. Forget the Quran now. Forget us Muslims now. It's on you, and then you respond to this concern you have with regards to God repeating himself in your scriptures.
The thing that concerns me, Baron, Hamza, is
Tony,
the pure vitriol towards non-believers.
That's got nothing to do, Rob, nothing to do with what we're talking about, mate.
Two different verses.
Yeah. So what? The Quran says you're going to burn in hell, Rob. The Quran says you're going to burn in hell.
I'm absolutely prepared for self-criticism.
So what? You don't believe the Quran,
I'm
mate.
not trying to sugarcoat Christianity.
Rob, you don't believe the Quran, mate. You don't believe the Quran. The Quran says you're going to burn in hell. So what? You don't believe the Quran anyway. So what's it matter to you? Now let's address your concerns that you come on with. Let's address. Look, Rob, we care about you, mate. We love you. We care about you, so we want to address your concerns. So we want to hear how we help you reconcile your concern when it comes to your scripture?
Hamza, look how laid back I am. I'm not even trying to attack you.
What are you talking about? Just respond to what's being said to you.
All right. I think we've Rob. I think you've
pull your pants up and leave the room, please.
Yeah, I think you've provided enough information there for us to say bye-bye. It's a shame, really, isn't it? It really is a shame when when we have to sort of deal with silly questions like that, especially when Nazam's basically showed the mirror, said, look, you've got verses that are repeated in the Bible as well. Suddenly the concern is gone for the Bible and it still has a concern for the Quran, which is weird.
Well, we were just doing the book of Jude last week. We were talking about the book of Jude, and what was we finishing off? What was the second book we were doing last week?
Second Peter.
Second Peter. And we were saying how Jude and Peter, they use the same words. One copied from the other. So it's amazing that the last stream we did spoke about this issue within the scripture, and we're questioning, well, which came first, Jude or Second Peter, because it looks like Second Peter has been copied from Jude. Yeah? SubhanAllah. Anyway,
I've discovered this as if Surah Rahman. I mean, every third, fourth verse is repeats.
Which are the favorite Lord Edenai?
And why? Because it's phenomenally important for you to understand that we have to be grateful to the Creator. And so it's really important that this is given, and it's given with emphasis, and even more emphasis, and with more beauty and more eloquence, and it just goes right into the heart. So it's not even an issue. I don't even understand why he would consider this to be an issue. May Allah guide him, SubhanAllah.
Can I just emphasize, right? An intelligent person, before they make an argument, they ask the question, can this argument refute what I also believe? So let me make sure I lay it out and understand the criticism I am going to make. If you stop at the first point, right, like the first thought that you have, then it sounds reasonable. Okay, this contradicts what I also believe, therefore I don't make this argument, right? Rob does not even take that first step, which I find incredible. And if you're a Christian and you look at that, you have to really consider, can such a person truly be reasonable? The answer is no. You want to take the question in the comments?
Before we take the question, I'd just like to say that the back chat constantly fills up and it doesn't allow new members to join. If you are Muslim, please leave the back chat. If I get you on and you're Muslim, then you're not going to be able to make a point, because we need to get, as I said, Christians and non-Muslims on there. So please, if you're Muslim on the back chat, please leave and leave the door open for others to join. Thank you. Yes, sorry, Jaz, you want to answer the question there that was raised?
Only if Nazambo wants me to, or Dr. Imran, unless they want to take it.
I think you're probably most suited since it's related to the history of the Quran.
Okay, I'll do it quickly, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, EFDawah. Christian sentiments are that equal scales aren't applied on the Quran when it comes to historical studies, therefore they felt that it hasn't been fair. What are your thoughts about them? This would be an equivocation, because the Quran is not of the literary genre of a historical work like a Greco-Roman bios. I mean, to be fair, we don't even use modern biographical standards when we examine the Gospels. We actually look at them within a very specific, limited scope of criticism because of the genre it belongs to, a Greco-Roman bios or an Aritology. So we don't even apply equal scales to the Gospels. When it comes to the historical method, we actually lower the scales to allow for that movement so we can contextualize it historically. They don't have to get everything right, but they should get some things right. So it's not the same, and we have to look at the genre of literature that we're comparing. We have to look at the time period that they come from, and I think it would be absurd to even raise this question before we've come to the historicity of the Quran streams. Wait, chill. When we come to those streams, then I can understand criticism of the method. But we haven't taken that first step, so what are you doing? And I know it's your friend Andrew Christ which asked that question. And Andrew, you have to be patient and you have to be a little bit more self-aware when you ask questions like this. Thank you.
And I just want to add, I feel that because the Bible has basically been deconstructed in like Western universities and in other places, some people who are not Muslim but belong to a different faith, and you have like a polemical type of agenda, they want to try to, bring the Quran to the same level because they feel, I guess maybe some kind of jealousy or something. But it doesn't work because unlike the Bible, unfortunately, the Quran does pass, like the historical criticisms that people try to labor up against it.
Yeah. Does anybody else want to jump in, or shall we get the next guest on?
Yeah, well, yeah, bring on Robert Morris.
Hamza, what are you eating, Hamza? What are you eating?
What was eating? Apple pie and custard.
Wow, mashallah.
Robert Morris, welcome to the stream.
Fuck Muslims.
Oh.
Yeah. That all you got?
Anonymous artist.
Our worldview has collapsed. Brilliant argumentation.
The level of argumentation there was next level.
Anonymous artist, are you Muslim?
Not really, no.
Okay. Can I ask you
what is
What does that mean? Not really, no. What are you doing? Get dressed.
What my belief is, do you remember the conversation we had before?
No.
Did you read my email I sent afterwards?
Probably not. Go on, what's your point?
No. Okay, right. Well, I'm a sort of believer in the one God, but I think Islam is like off the path, if you know what I mean. It's been corrupted, it's always been corrupted. Every time it was revealed, it became corrupted, as the Bible and the Quran talk about. No?
what?
To come in to take you away. So say that again. What's been corrupted?
Islam. Islam is the true.
Islam has been corrupted,
as revealed by the Prophet.
How has it been corrupted?
Sorry.
How has it been corrupted?
In lots of ways. The words have been changed. The context of the words have been changed.
Give me an example.
The meanings of the word.
Give me an example.
Well, the one I gave before was the word "kama" for wine. It means to be covered, doesn't it? The word "covered" is the word for wine. Yeah, pretty much.
I'm not surprised that they didn't respond to your email. This is ridiculous.
Huh?
What are you talking about?
What is?
What are you talking about?
What's the word for wine? The way Islam has been corrupted and words.
Wine, as in alcohol.
Yeah,
as in alcohol.
Yeah. It's the word.
Khama.
Yeah. What's the word in Arabic?
Khama. I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Khama.
It's from the verb. Yeah, from the verb to be covered. No, like to be covered, to be drunk, to be off your head, lose your connection with God.
You know what? I'm going to take your first answer. You're not ready. Abbas, please.
Yeah, Anonymous. With all due respect, brother, we don't really understand what you're talking about. So, when you've got a strong argument with some evidence, please do come back again. Thank you for coming on the stream and trying. Okay, so let's have a look.
Come back, Rob. What's wrong?
Look how unimpressed Nizambo left.
Interested. Welcome to the stream. Are you Muslim? Interested?
No, I'm not Muslim.
Okay, can I ask you what religion you are? Are you there? Can you hear us?
Carlos. How you doing, Carlos?
Oh, this is Carlos from the...
the arena. Is it the arena?
No,
it's not. Can you hear us, Carlos?
Sorry. Everything's not the arena. One on the arena, was it? It was Perfect Storm. Where's he gone?
Yeah.
Oh, this Rastaman's going to be fun.
Okay.
I'm just worried if we bring on a Rastaman, everyone's going to ask me to speak in my actual accent.
Rastaman, welcome to the stream.
One love, Rastafari. One love. One love is all we need.
Okay. Did you have a question at all or anything?
Who shot the sheriff, Rastaman? Oh, he left.
No. Okay. Sammy, are you Muslim?
Oh, we just doing lyrics to Bob Marley songs. Is that what it was?
Sammy, are you Muslim, Sammy?
Sorry, I left a comment in the comment section. I hope you read it. I don't want to bother you.
I can't hear. What did he say?
He left a comment in the.
I think he left something in the private chat, I believe.
Okay. All right. So Frank, hi Frank.
I was going to say that Frank Apple was still rolling around. You had to grab it.
Yeah. Look, I've been having technical difficulties all morning again, and so I've missed most of the stream, and I just came back in then.
That's all right, Frank. How are you?
So yes,
anyway?
so I don't know what's gone before.
Does it matter? Open for friend.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, would you acknowledge that back in medieval times, people did make up a lot of stories? There's a lot of mythical stories from those times, which just aren't true.
Yes, that happens.
It's my contention that there are plenty of them in the Quran. Now, look, we have to be discerning about what's true.
Frank,
how did you go from there to there?
Your sound's gone very low, Frank.
Oh, okay.
Frank is the only person I know to come on every stream and still not know how to speak into a microphone.
Is that better?
It's worse. It's the exact same. Is it plugged in, Frank?
Is
it plugged in?
Yeah, it's plugged in.
Switch from your computer microphone to your headset on StreamYard thing.
It should be in. Yeah.
No, you got to manually switch, Frank. Manually switch.
Is that now?
The exact same. You
very
might
low,
have dead
Frank.
headphones.
Your voice is very low today for some reason. Normally it's quite
You know what's so funny though, Frank? When you made that nonsense comment that your mic just went. It's like your mic had enough. Come on, Frank, flipping heck.
Can you hear me now?
Stuff, and
now we can hear you.
Now it's better.
Okay. So I think we have to be discerning about what are real miracles and what are just mythical stories people made up in medieval times. People would believe.
What's a real miracle, Frank? What's a real miracle?
Well, there are things which God did, there are acts of God, and there are stories which people made up for entertainment.
Right, and how would you differentiate?
Well, I think that the fantasy stories, it becomes fairly obvious that they're fantasy stories.
What, like six-headed dragons in Revelations? Is that what we were talking about, this kind of stuff?
Well, Revelation is a book of pictures. It's analogies. So you expect that sort of thing.
So six-headed dragons is okay then in Revelations, yeah? That's not made up.
Well, it's an image of something. Like well, number one, there is no six-headed dragon.
Frank, your sound is going. Your sound is dying again for some
It's
reason.
like a nonsense monitor, isn't it?
Do you want to just put the microphone near you?
Well, I'm just speaking into my laptop at the moment.
Okay, that's a bit better, Frank. That's a bit better.
Okay, I'll just stay close to the laptop.
Talking donkeys, mythical or real?
You know, I made a bet about that.
Talking donkeys, mythical or real? No, they're mythical or real.
I would take that with a grain of salt. But
the donkey didn't talk.
Well, did the donkey talk, or did Balaam just think he heard the donkey talking? I mean,
well, the Bible says donkey talked. It says, "What are you doing? Why are you hitting me for?" The donkey's asking Balaam, "Why are you hitting me?"
Okay.
Anyway, that's first thing.
Okay.
Talking snakes mythical or real?
Okay. I notice what you do not want to do is just look at some of these stories.
No. What I want to do to you what I did to Rob. Yeah, before you come on with your concerns, you're not an atheist, mate. You're not an agnostic. You believe in mythical stories because you believe in the Bible. And so I want to understand how you differentiate in between mythical stories and what the Bible says. So when it talks about talking snakes and talking donkeys, mythical or real? It's a very simple question.
Okay, now, so here's my criteria.
Mythical or real?
Here's my criteria. When God is
Frank, just say mythical or real.
So what? When
No,
God
it's
is
not so
saving
what?
his people,
It's either mythical or real. Which is it?
which?
Talking snake.
Well, that is an analogy. Like it wasn't a snake.
So it's not real.
It was Satan talking to Eve.
Was it a snake talking or not?
Pardon?
Was it a snake talking?
No.
It wasn't a snake. Okay, cool. Talking donkeys, mythical or real?
Balaam heard the donkey talk to him.
So the donkey spoke.
The thing was, who was standing in front of them? What was the donkey talking about?
It's talking about
the angel of God.
Okay. We don't. We're not asking about what was the concern of the donkey there. what was his mode of did it speak or not?
Who was standing in front of the donkey?
It doesn't matter why the donkey spoke. Did it speak? Did it speak?
A donkey can't speak, but
did the donkey spoke in the Bible? So is that a mythical story that's been put in the Bible, or is it real?
When God spoke as a burning bush, was it the bush that was speaking?
Okay, we're talking about your talking donkey, and is it real or is it just a parable or something, metaphor? It's not real.
It was the angel of the Lord in front of Balaam that was doing the speaking.
No, the donkey was talking or not?
Huh?
Was the donkey talking or not?
I don't know how God brought about the miracle, but the angel of the Lord...
That's not the question. Did the donkey talk, no matter what means it had the capacity to do so?
Hamza, you're deflecting. I'm trying
to
ask
No. You come on with a gun and shoot yourself in the foot, and I'm going to show you the wound. Right. So I'll say it again to you. Did the donkey talk?
What's rubbish?
Did the donkey talk?
I don't know. I don't know.
Does the Bible say the donkey spoke or not?
Have you finished deflecting?
Have you finished answering? You can answer the question.
I'm not going to get tied down on talking.
No. You are going to get unravelled.
I am talking about.
Let me make it easy. Let me give you an easier one. I'll give you an easy one. We won't talk about talking animals, right? Do you believe that the saints rose at the crucifixion and zombies went to all the town and all the cities? Do you believe that? Or
you are classic, Hamza. You will not. You refuse
mythical
to
or real?
The Quran.
Mythical or real?
You refuse to defend
mythical
the Quran.
Or real? Mythical or real? Talking all the zombies going into the towns. Mythical or real?
Number one, I reject the use of your term zombies.
Frank, just 1 second. Frank, 1 second. Look, Frank, if we're going to have a meaningful discussion and you come with an argument, Hamza has absolute right to say, hold on a second, Frank, you're a Christian and you believe in things that to an onlooker, an atheist or an agnostic or
bad argument.
Frank might seem absurd.
No, that's wrong.
Okay, Frank. Why don't? Okay, I tell you what, Frank. Let's humour you. Make your point, and let's deal with it. Then go on, Frank. What's your point?
Okay. But just before you do, Frank. Sorry, Frank, to interrupt you. I know that you're trying to talk. I just want to what I would suggest you do to make it a useful discussion. Just define for us what you think a miracle is, and then give us the criteria that you were going to give us for differentiating between a made-up miracle and a miracle that actually is in the past.
Thanks. That's really good. A miracle is when God acts, and it's with a purpose. It's to save His people. It's to demonstrate His power in a certain situation. It's nearly always to save people. Whereas mythical stories, they're just there for entertainment. They don't necessarily involve God. They're just magic things that happen, and yeah, it's just entertaining. And it's my contention that the Quran has just picked up a bunch of stories which are entertaining stories, and they do not show God acting. So to take the case of which Rob brought up a few weeks ago, of Solomon on his stick. So in the Bible, we have an account of Solomon's life. He was a rich king. He did lots of things, no magic. And when he died, his son became king. So in the Quran's version, he dies, but he's leaning on his stick, for some period of time. It doesn't, well, the Quran doesn't say, it just says until the worm came, but he's there on his stick. No one's noticed. They don't come and take him away and bury him and make his son king. He's just there. And meanwhile, these magical
Frank, what
creatures...
was the response to that?
Pardon?
What was the response to that? Did you hear the response?
Well, you were going on about, well, he was bringing up hadith and so on. I really don't care about that. I just look at what does the Quran say?
No, what was the response from us on that matter?
A whole lot of
deflection. We responded to it.
No, you didn't.
Oh, we didn't.
We
didn't respond.
I think it was a totally inadequate response. Because
what was our response? What was our response that you thought was inadequate?
Well, he was asking, would nobody notice for a year? Now, the Quran doesn't specify a year.
What was our response that you thought was inadequate?
That if he died, his servants would have noticed, they would have taken him away.
No, what was our response? Not what was Rob's claim. What was our response that you believe was inadequate?
Your response was that the jinns are so dumb, they wouldn't notice, and so it could go on for a long time. And
right.
I think...
Why is that inadequate?
Well, I don't remember that as the response. The response I remember is that the Tafsir Jalain, Rob needs to look at other tafsirs besides Tafsir Jalain. He needs to read Ibn Kathir, for example, because the report that Rob was referring to, Ibn Kathir has it different. And Tafsir Jalain is known to also contain a lot of Israeliyat type narrations, which are not necessarily authentic.
But in a sense, it doesn't really matter what the Hadith say. What does the Quran say?
Well, can I just take you back to your definitions and your criteria, because I think they're inadequate. So, when you're giving your definition of a miracle, you said something that didn't make any sense to me. Could you repeat that for me?
It's God acting to save His people. They're nearly always about. Like it was Israel was about to be destroyed by Pharaoh, so they crossed the Red Sea. Or Daniel thrown into the lion's den, God protects him. Or Jesus heals someone. So they're about saving people.
What was so fantastic about that? Who did that say?
Let Imran just finish his point with Frank, and then we'll get you in, inshallah. So sorry, Hamza. Frank, just deal with what Imran is saying first, and then we'll get Hamza brother in a minute.
Sorry, was Imran talking? So.
No, you were giving examples, and I like the example that Hamza gave. Actually, I think it's very pertinent. So, because you're trying to make what you're saying is that what you seem to be saying. Tell me if I'm misunderstanding you. Is that the miracles that were done, they performed some sort of action, and so this is God acting to. And you've given some examples of what you perceive as positive actions. The saving his people from the splitting of the sea, etc. All these things that God does through his prophets. So the question then comes, what about the other things that are represented as miracles that don't fit your criteria? And Brother Hamza gave an excellent example of water into wine. Now, for what is the question would be, what is the in your using your definition, what would be the purpose or the utility? Who was being saved by the turning of the water into wine? And if you can't find a utility for that example, does that mean that was therefore now a myth that somebody inserted into the Bible?
No, water into wine, that was the first. That was the first of Jesus' miracles given in John, and it was really Jesus launching his ministry. So the thing was, it starts with a kind of a celebration, like it's a wedding. So, and I admit it is an unusual one, but it was the first thing that Jesus did. And it starts on a kind of a note of celebration.
But you've sort of now your criteria that you've given yourself is not being fulfilled here, Frank. If you're saying that someone can, let's just put it colloquial terms, they can throw a party and make water into wine, and that's you're happy to take that as a miracle. What would be outside of anything anyone did would be fine, right? From that point onwards, because that seems trivial. If anything,
the thing is, it was about the person of Jesus, and so Jesus he's now appeared on the scene, because like up until then he'd done nothing. He lived for 30 years and nothing really of note, and so now he launches on the scene. with this thing of Solomon, where's God in it? You know, where's God acting?
No, but that's what you're doing is you're taking your criteria and you're applying it to the Quran. But what we're saying to you is, first we need to understand what the definition of a miracle is, and then what your criteria is, so then we can be consistent across both texts and apply this to come to an understanding. And what we've seen already is, as Brother Hamza pointed out with the water into wine miracle, your own criteria not being fulfilled. There is no saving of the people by turning the water into wine.
Yeah. Okay.
So how are you then accepting that as a miracle, bona fide miracle, compared to anything else? Because this is one of among many things that happened that would not have been saving his people. For example, what about the people who Jesus may have inadvertently helped and didn't realize? For example, the woman that touched him that was bleeding, and suddenly her bleeding stopped and she went away, who was not from his people. And Jesus said he felt something go out. You know, you described it as something going out of him. He had no idea what was happening at that point, because he was asking, who touched me? And we have examples of miracles that don't serve a purpose as the criteria you're putting forward. So I would say, and I'll let the other brothers join in, is that the first, we haven't even got to the criteria of defining what is a bona fide miracle and what's a myth. I would say that you haven't defined a miracle adequately, and I think it's quite straightforward to do. But I'll let the other brothers join in with you, inshallah. So I think your criteria falls down, because one of the points we made with Rob, which Brother Ijaz made, was very profound. Is that before you bring an argument, you should see how does this affect my worldview? And I think that your worldview falls foul of the thing that you're putting forward, because turning water into wine or not knowing you've done something to somebody to help them these would be superfluous or pointless miracles, if anything. But I'll let the other brothers join in.
No, I think, to be honest, Imran, you've hit the nail on the head, Frank. And I think if you're honest, Frank, you'd have to accept that your initial point that you made, that it's always saving somebody, saving somebody's life or whatever. And clearly Hamza's example there of turning water to wine, like Imran has, mashallah, very beautifully alluded to, it simply means, Frank, that you're not being consistent. You're applying one rule to the Quran, and you're applying a completely different rule to the Bible, Frank. And to be honest, Frank, it's about being honest and being honest with yourself as well, because I just don't think it's a very fair and wholesome way of analyzing these things by constantly moving the goalposts when it's Christianity, and having a very sort of fixed definition when it comes to anything else. I mean, that's just not being honest, Frank.
Okay. So with John, the Gospel of John, it's structured around 7 miracles. He says Jesus did many miracles, but it gives 7 miracles throughout the book. That the water in the wine is the first of the miracles, and it's the one that shows Jesus as, well, he's the Messiah. He's someone special. So
right. So the miracle is, just so we understand. So you're saying a miracle can be performed to prove to some people that you are something special, yeah?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
In fact, that's how John's structured.
Yeah, go on.
So this is the first one, and yeah, it wasn't saving anyone.
But what happened to your saving the people business?
Sorry?
What happened to your saving the people business?
Well, because Jesus' whole ministry is about saving.
No. That miracle is supposed to be saving people, according to your criterion.
I did say at the beginning, it can be God announcing His power, but it's usually about saving people.
God announcing His power. So a miracle is God announcing His power. Yeah.
It can be that. Yeah.
Right. So a miracle doesn't need to be about saving anybody, then. Yeah.
It doesn't need to be. It usually is.
Well, no, it either is or it isn't. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be. Okay. So just so we understand now. So, because here's how I understand miracles. Miracles are to demonstrate to the people that the person you're speaking to has been sent by God. That's what I would define as a miracle.
Can I just have a quick point to that? Sorry, one quick point. So with your refined definition of God announcing His power, that applies to every single story of any event, of any miracle, true or false, that anyone would bring. If Solomon spent 1 billion years on his stick as a dead person before he fell over, God announcing his power.
There
wouldn't be a way for you with this criteria that you've given. So this is where the criteria falls down, Frank, because you've either the criteria is God acting and he's doing this to save his people, or it's just announcing his power. Now the first one is too specific, and even the Bible falls foul of that. The second one is too general, and everything that anyone ever does could fall into that. There wouldn't be no way to differentiate between what is a false God announcing his power miracle and what is a true God announcing his power miracle. You wouldn't be able to work that out. David Copperfield could make the Eiffel Tower disappear and say that was God announcing his power. How would you be able to differentiate between that and a miracle? Because that would be on camera, historically recorded. He'd walk around it. He'd show you it disappeared. The question really is that your criteria they're not working, Frank. And I know there is a really, it's in a way, it's a sort of a shame to see you struggle with this, because you're better than this, Frank.
How is God announcing his power?
I don't know how Frank has turned into Rob.
by having Solomon resting on the stick.
I can tell you very straightforwardly. So one of the claims that the people used to make about the jinn is that they had knowledge of the unseen. They could tell things that we couldn't work out. So they have access to knowledge of the we call it the unseen, which only God really is. That he's the one who knows the unseen. So this is a claim of a divine aspect to them.
Is this in the Quran? This teaching?
Sorry, yeah, this is very straightforward. I'm not telling you anything that is controversial. This is very straightforward. One reason for allowing Solomon to be on his stick, even if it's for a minute or two, or however long you want to say, that the time factor is really irrelevant. And the jinn were to carry on working because they were afraid of Solomon and his stick, as Brother Ijaz mentioned before. The staff itself held for them a fear factor. They wouldn't come near it. And the fact that they didn't know he died was a demonstration of the fact that they did not know the unseen. So this was demonstrating, literally demonstrating God's power, that I am the one who is, would be God. I am the one who is the knower of the unseen, and you don't know anything. And this is, so on a fundamental basic level, is showing you one of the attributes of the Creator. And so that's a very profound demonstration of that you, who people turn to when they worship and, devil worship, etc. You don't even know when this individual who's standing right next to you or is near you or in your vicinity, who you're working through out of fear, is no longer having any power over you because he's died. And that's a powerful demonstration. This is like, if someone were to, getting like Brother Abbas's example he gives, this is like someone getting into a ring with Mike Tyson, 3-year-old, having delusions that they could beat them up, and Mike Tyson actually says, you know what, you got nothing to me, and demonstrates that. Then this is that example. The jinn had no idea of this individual's death, i.e. no access to the unseen knowledge, and God demonstrated that they don't have that, and that's a very profound point of one of the aspects of God. Now I'm going to counter that with Jesus also in the Bible says that he does not know when the hour is. This, for us as Muslims, this would be a similar example of an individual saying, I do not have access to the unseen. This belongs only to the Father, who then would become, as John 17:3, the only true God, because he has one of those attributes that are necessary to be the only true God. So this all fits for us. This all fits very nicely, Frank. There's no ambiguity here. There's no difficult explanation. It's a miracle, and it has a point to the miracle. But that's not what makes a miracle a miracle. There's something beyond that, which you haven't really come to. We were trying to get you to that.
But even this concept of jinn, and that Solomon has got jinn working for him, that's the stuff of mythology. Like, is it even explained in the Quran how you can get jinn to work for you?
Frank, let's not now make a new argument. Your initial argument that you came with clearly, respectfully, I would say, has completely been dismantled. And I hope that you're going to be humble enough to accept that Dr. Imran's...
Okay, hold on, Frank, hold on. The concept of angels is easy, but the concept of jinns is bad.
Stories about jinn.
Frank, hold on.
Frank, do you believe Abraham wrestled an angel?
Jacob, Hamza, Jacob.
Jacob.
Sorry, do you believe Jacob? Do you believe Jacob wrestled an angel?
Yes.
And you turn around and say that our believing in jinns is mythological. Yeah, that Jacob wrestling an angel isn't.
In fact,
do you believe angels came and had sex with women on the earth?
That's well,
it's in the Bible.
All right,
say
you
yes.
know what, Frank? Before Frank goes, I'd just like Ijaz and Nazim, if they want to come in there before we get the next guest. We've got 5 other people waiting. So, Ijaz, do you want to just quickly make a point with Frank?
Yeah, my suggestion to Frank would be to look up the definition of the word blowback. And my second advice to Frank is, I completely get that you want to critique the Quran and claim that its stories are mythological. Completely get that. I understand the motive behind it. But if the motive can't be validated through clear reasoning other than to say, I accept one standard for the Quran and another for the Bible, and I'm not going to critique the Bible using the same level of argumentation, then I think that there is an inconsistency here. It is not absurd for people to believe in angels, right? And if you can accept that angels, which are unseen but yet still do exist, are a part of God's creation, then it's not absurd to accept jinns, which are equally unseen but part of God's creation. I mean, the very second chapter of the Quran, it commands Muslims to believe in the unseen. Lدينا يؤمنون بالغيب, those who believe in the unseen. So this is a part of faith for us. But we don't say
demons.
Sorry.
Do you believe in demons?
The question is, can Solomon have these?
Do you believe in demons? Do you believe in demons?
Working as slaves for him.
Do you believe in demons?
Yes, there are demons.
Right, demons. Believe in demons. Believe in angels, but jinns are mythological.
A person. Well, no, but it's the person who has demons working for him.
No, no. Who got the demons working for him?
Well, what does the Quran say?
Who gave the power to Solomon to control the demons?
Nobody.
Or the jinns?
He didn't have that power.
Who gave him the power?
He didn't have that power. It's rubbish.
Who gave him the? No. What do you mean?
Hamza, we need to get the other guests on. Nazam, do you want to add anything?
Hold on. Jesus driving out demons from pigs, rubbish. But God giving the same power to Solomon. How does that work, Frank?
Does the Quran say he gave the power to Solomon?
Solomon did not inherently have the power. In fact, we believe in Islam that everything we have is from God. Even Jesus in the Quran, sorry, not Jesus, even, Jesus, when the life was given to the bird, what does he say? By Allah's permission, by Allah's leave. This is basic Islam, Frank. Basic Islam. When you compare this with the narratives in the Bible, they believe the exact same thing. That you think it's absurd. Give me the distinguishing factor here, Frank. What's the distinguishing factor?
Where does it say that God gave Solomon the power to use jinn as slaves? Is that
if it says that, Frank, if it says that, you accept the story is true?
I wouldn't, but it doesn't even say that.
No, but if it said
you wouldn't accept it. Even if we should,
because the Bible tells us about Solomon, and it tells us a lot of he did great things, but not.
What great things did he do? What great things did he do?
Well, he was the greatest king of Israel. So Israel was at its maximum extent. It was the richest. Then he built the temple.
Who gave him the power to be that way? And what gave him the ability? Oh,
at the beginning of his. When he became king, he
who gave him the power?
God did.
All right, and how did he do that? How did he do that? What power did he give him?
He gave him wisdom.
Okay, I have a question, Hamza. I have a question.
Guys, just 1 second. That's fine. You can make you can make the point. But let me just try to moderate, because obviously we've got 4 or 5 other guests. So
let's get rid of Frank.
If I could kindly ask Ijaz, make your point, inshallah. We will then say, Frank, thank you for coming on, and we wish you well. So Ijaz, please make your point, and then we'll get Frank.
Okay, so Frank believes that God only gave Solomon alayhi salam wisdom. I have a question then. How was he able to? Riches, mashallah, beautiful. Then how was he able to service 300 wives and 700 concubines as a normal man?
One at a time.
Okay, but then he would be caught in that doing that all day long, then, wouldn't he?
The statistics seem a bit over the top, but it's yeah, he didn't do it by magic powers.
So God didn't give him stamina as a blessing. He just, a normal human person would not be able, I think 700 women in a year plus 300 is 1,000, Frank. That would mean you would have to service one of your people at least 3 times a day minimum. So I would like to think most men in their age today can't do it more than once in a day, Frank. So where did he get the strength? Where did he get the strength 3 times a day, Frank, to do it every single day of the year?
No, the Bible doesn't say he serviced them every day or every year, but the Quran does. Or is it the Quran or something Hadiths do?
No, but Frank, now I'm confused. So you're saying that Solomon had 300 wives and wasn't able to satisfy them?
Of course.
Then how was he able to do so?
No, he couldn't. No, you can't. It's physically impossible.
SubhanAllah. So he was abusive towards his wives then?
It's questionable whether he had so many wives, but the thing is...
The Bible says it. You can't question the Bible. It's scripture, Frank. What's going on here?
It doesn't say anything about him having sex with them every day. Certainly not.
All right, guys. I think it does. I think you've made your point, and I think we've suddenly ended up in rather sort of murky waters here. Frank, thank you very much. Before you go, Frank, Frank, come on, man! For God's sake! I mean, these sort of arguments are really.
I think it's very important. Yeah, I think you.
Can I just read something very quickly? Let me just read something before you give him the medicine.
Very quickly, go on.
Okay.
Hamza.
According to the rabbinical literature, on account of his modest request for wisdom only, Solomon was rewarded with riches and an unprecedented glorious realm, which extended over the upper world inhabited by the angels and over the whole of the terrestrial globe, with all its inhabitants, including all the beasts, fowl, and reptile, as well as the demons and spirits. That's rabbinical literature. So you go deal with the Jews, mate. All right, I'm going to drop my mic now. I'm not going to let it touch the floor, though. But that's it. You're done, mate. You're served. Go find some other stupid argument from Rob and come back. Goodbye.
Frank, you have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see ya.
Okay, so
the rabbis just...
And let's just give Frank the verse in the Quran, chapter 38, verse 35, I think it is. No, 36. So we subjected to him. This is after Sulaiman al-Islam. He asked Allah to bestow him with bounties, and we subjected to him every builder and diver of the jinn and others bound in chains. So it specifically mentions that the jinn were under the control of Sulaiman al-Islam. So, I mean, even it's sad. I'm quite, because Frank's a nice guy. I just hope that he realizes that he's bashing his head against a hard place.
The Seal of Solomon. A magic ring called the Seal of Solomon was supposedly given to Solomon, gave him power over demons or jinn. The magical symbol said to have been the Seal of Solomon, which made it efficacious, is often considered to be the Star of David. Come on, man. You're coming to the wrong place, Frank, with your Rob arguments. Wrong place. All right.
Okay, so we've got...
I'm sorry. I just thought that was a funny argument to use on Franco when I asked him. I was trying so hard to not laugh. The comments were cracking me up, man. You guys...
Honestly.
Okay. So
Dr. Iman is probably thinking, how do we cancel Ijaz? Like, how do we get him off this street?
William Crusader looks like a serious profile name.
Okay, let's get William Crusader on. William Crusader, welcome to the stream. Okay, let's...
Sorry, did I say serious? They meant stupid. Sorry.
Yeah.
What is it? Oh, there we go. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
So you've been on...
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah, so you've been on lots of comments saying that you were going to come on the stream.
Thank you for having me on. My name is Supreet Singh Virk.
Yeah, you're on. If you close your YouTube window and just have your StreamYard on, then you won't get the feedback, the echo. So just turn
I believe this guest though is not suited for this show.
This thing is like lagging, bro, and it's like I can hear like 10, 20 different voices. I'm gonna try to get YouTube on my phone at the same time. Hopefully,
No.
It's
Take your YouTube off. Just stay on StreamYard. Yeah, but you're a perfect guest for the perfect storm, not this show.
All right, there we go.
You basically want to defend.
Do we got feedback anymore? No.
All right. I'm going to just mute you a second. Flipping act. All right. This guest is suitable for the perfect storm rather than this stream because basically he's come on to demonstrate what he believes is true. And I think he's a Sikh, if I'm not wrong. So he's a perfect guest for the perfect storm. For this one, I'm not quite sure, but we'll see. Let's see.
Okay.
And the Christianity that you guys are used to arguing with. I'm purely going to be talking about Sikhism, and I'm going to try to prove why Sikhism is the truth. And I want to thank God for allowing me to speak. I want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to speak, and I really do appreciate it. Well, basically, we'll start off like this. I'll say why I believe Sikhism is the complete truth. And I want to say I do respect Islam. I respect you guys for what you're doing. You guys are spreading the message of one God, and that is the most important thing out here. But there's some problems within your guys' religion that does not exist in Sikhism, and I'm going to start listing them off, and I want to see what your responses is and why do you guys believe that maybe I think it's a problem, but it's not a problem. The first problem I want to talk about is that you guys all believe that God is perfect, right? God never makes a mistake. God's never done anything wrong. Is that true?
Yes, that is
Supri, you started off by saying that you were going to demonstrate why you thought Sikhism was correct, and then that was going to be your criteria with which you were going to compare Islam.
Because God never makes a mistake. But I just want to understand a little bit more about you guys.
No, just tell us why you
have
thought
a little bit more
Sikhism is
similarities than differences, so we can
just tell us why Sikhism is the truth, mate.
Okay, yeah. The first thing is that number one, we believe that God made everything perfect, everyone perfect, that we're all here to spread the word of God, that we're all here to connect with God, and that God is one. The problem with other religions compared to Sikhism is we don't limit the power of God. God is beyond our understanding in totality. God is greater than what we can understand. And Sikhism says that every mortal human being that exists on earth can never completely understand God. And one thing that's different between Sikhism, which claims that we could never completely understand God until we become immortal. And the only way we become immortal is to go closer to God. So in this mortal life that we live right now, we're not going to completely understand God until we die and become immortals. And the only way we can become immortals is by connecting with God, which is the true immortal. So with that being said, I want to say when you limit the power of God by saying that God is in one place or another, we Sikhs believe that God exists everywhere, is omnipresent, creator of all, this destroyer of all, the operator of everything that exists on this earth and all realms. God is the one who created it. God is the most powerful being, is the greatest, as you guys say. What I want to contend is
just 1 second, Supri.
Yes,
so
sir.
You've made a point there. I'd like some feedback from some of the panel. Imran, do you want to just come in there first, and then Hamza, and then Ijaz, inshallah?
You muted, Imran.
Thanks.
Imran, muted.
Supri, so what you've really done is you've just made some claims.
Well, I want to know, do you guys believe that?
So this is the thing. Because what you said was, I'm trying to have the conversation in a sensible way.
Okay.
So one of the things that you said was that Sikhism is true. You're going to establish that, and then you're going to use that as a criteria to explain why Islam is falling down in certain places. And what you've done is you've made
it's not the complete truth.
Sure,
every religion has
because
some
from what I
truths in
understand
it.
of Sikhism, you're perennialist religion. You believe that there are many paths to God. that you don't believe any religion essentially is false, but there are different relative amounts of truth within these religions. Is that correct?
Yes, every religion has a truth, but there's not complete truth.
Sure, I understand that. So this is the basic premise of Sikhism, and I think also the basic flaw of Sikhism as well, and we can come to that. But the problem here that we're having initially in the beginning is we need to understand why you think...
Well, you're claiming that there's many ways to God, right?
No, I'm not saying that.
Well, you're saying that Sikhism claims that there's many ways to God, right?
That's what perennialist means. Yes.
No. There's only one way to God, but there's different ways that people can try. There's not. You guys believe in life and death, and afterwards,
what does that mean?
It's either heaven or
sorry.
hell,
Sorry. How many ways to God is there?
There's only one way.
And what are the many ways?
No, I'm saying, well, there's many ways in reincarnation. So either you mess up this life, you know,
reincarnation. Do you believe in reincarnation?
You're not going to God, but if you do it right, you're going to God.
One second, Abbas. I want to just establish some premises as we go.
So a person can have 1,000 deaths and go to God, or a person can have one death and go to God.
You believe in reincarnation?
But there's only one way to God. Yeah, reincarnation.
You believe in reincarnation?
100%.
Do you believe in animals being reincarnated?
Well, animals, everyone that has a soul, it can be reincarnated.
Could become a badger.
I'm sorry?
So I could die and become a badger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Carry on.
That's the difference. Well,
no,
just believe that if you die,
I'm just going to hand you the
shovel. Heaven or you go to hell, right? That's why you say there's one way.
Just one
way to God, but there's no one.
Okay, Supri, I've had to mute you. Just give me 1 second, please, if you don't mind. I'd like it to be a meaningful conversation. You were talking to Brother Imran. Let's have that conversation. Let's have a bit of flow. And then I'd like Hamza to come in there, Nazam, and then Ijaz to come in there. So if you don't mind. So Imran, please go ahead.
So Supri, I just want to clarify with you, because I've discussed with a few Sikh brothers in the past, and really I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You're saying something that I'm finding is new. So I want to just clarify your understanding of it. So you said that there is only one way to God.
Yes.
So, but then you said that there are, and you said that way is reincarnation, which is an odd concept.
No. If you're reincarnated, that means you didn't go to God.
Oh, I see what you mean. So if you live the perfect life, whatever that means, we'll come to what that means. Then at that point you will then become part of God, or you join God, or you become connected to God.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously the Hindus have the similar concept of this, that you live lives, you're reincarnated, and as you become more...
Yeah, but they're idol worshippers.
Sure. We'll come to that we can come to the flaws within the systems. But I'm just telling you that the system is there, that there is reincarnation, and then each reincarnated life will either take you back a step or forward a step, and eventually you get to the stage where you have a perfect existence, and then therefore you become nirvana, they call it. Within that you become part of God, and you are immortal in that sense. And we have, the Buddhists have a similar concept. We have this similar concept in the Far Eastern religions as well. So the mechanism you're describing is something that's available in other systems as well. I have issues with the concept of reincarnation as a just mechanism of giving reward or punishment for past events, but we'll come to that in another step. Let's go through this. So you're saying that Sikhism is the complete truth in the sense that because what you've described is seen in other religions. So what is it specifically about Sikhism that you don't find in Hinduism or Buddhism or other religions? So for example, in Buddhism there is no concept of you of a creator. You just live your lives and you become one with whatever you are at the end. You reach enlightenment. So they're not idol worshippers in the sense they don't have idols. They have images of Buddha, but that's not their focus of their worship.
Well, I don't know too much about Buddhism, but I'm not sure if they believe in just one God. Hinduism, they believe in multiple gods. They even attribute God to a certain object, and that's a sin in Sikhism. We don't believe in that. We don't believe that there's more than one God. We don't believe that God can be part of an object or something like that.
So this complete truth that you're saying that Sikhism has, which is based upon, and what does it tell you that other religions don't tell you, for example? So what does Buddhism, so for example, in Buddhism, there is no God. They don't believe in a God.
Okay. Yeah, well,
they believe in a reincarnation, and you live your lives according to a certain way, and eventually you get to a state of enlightenment where you become part of whatever the universal essence is or whatever that is. And they believe that, you know, this is life is essentially a test in that scenario. So what does Sikhism give that, say, Buddhism doesn't give, or that Hinduism doesn't give? Though even Hindus, for example, they believe in, they have many gods, I agree with you, but they have an ultimate being called Brahma, and everyone else is an avatar, a manifestation of that God on earth to help mankind, pretty much like the Christian Jesus manifestation on earth concept, that whenever mankind was in need, God manifested on earth to help the people to solve their particular problem. In Krishna's case, he was even killed as well for the people.
Well, no,
and so we have these,
that God exists
sure,
everywhere, that he doesn't need to come as a human being or anything like that, that God is within everybody, that God is the ultimate. You can't limit the power of God by saying God's over here only, or God's only over here. But we don't believe that. What Hindus do is they put an object and they say, this is the God. When we don't believe that, we believe that God is one.
So
God
you're pantheist
everywhere. So that's the main difference. And
so you're a pantheist,
huh?
So you guys are pantheists, yeah?
Pantheist. Well, what does that mean?
That everything is God.
That God is the creator of everything.
So,
God
so
exists
you
everywhere.
believe God is in everything, every single matter, everything?
Yeah, 100%.
So when a dog craps on the floor, that's God, according to you.
Well, God made the dog, right? God.
No, but you're saying God's in the crap. That's what you're saying.
Well, I think you were bringing a negative connotation to that.
Yeah, I am definitely negative connotation, but that's what you believe, isn't it?
God is beyond a flattery. God is beyond any sort of emotions or.
All right, so he is in the crap.
God created the crap. Yes, God
is
everywhere.
Is he in the crap? He is the crap, according to you.
Well, if you bring it negative connotation to it, then you're gonna be punished for that.
Listen, don't relax your emotional state. Just answer the question, mate. I just want to know what you believe. I don't know what you believe. You see,
no, I'm saying God is everywhere. God
right. So do you believe God is the dog crap? That's all I'm asking.
If you're saying that God is only that dog crap,
no, I'm saying among many other things, he's that dog crap, and he's that vomit on the floor that someone threw up last night. You believe he's that as well?
Well, God gave you the vomit. God created everything.
No, but you believe God is the vomit, though. God is in the vomit.
That's just one piece. That's like
that's fine. Look, I'm just piecing it all together, mate. I'm giving you the shovel. Keep on digging. No problem. Carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, no. God created, gave you the ability to take a crap. So if you weren't able to take a crap, then God gave you that ability as well.
So one of the problems with the pantheism concept, like God being everywhere, is this idea that you end up God being in places that you would consider to be unclean or dirty or unworthy. And so therefore God,
from what Sikhism believes, that there's beauty in life everywhere.
You can speak, Supri, but just give me a moment to finish my sentence.
Yes, sir.
So this is one of the fallbacks of having that concept that God is everywhere, is that God ends up in certain. There are two dangers with this. One, God ends up in certain unsavory places, wherever you want to call them, feces or vomit or whatever you want to say, that God would be in these places as well. The other side of it is, and people have done this, is that people say that there is a certain concentration of God within them, which is greater than you find in maybe other places. So I've even had some Sikh friends who said to me that if you get 4 Sikhs together, then essentially you have God in a place, because God is concentrated with them in a different level. And this is what they say even amongst with the gurus, there was this extra concentration of whatever this God substance would be within them as compared to other people that were more enlightened. Do you hold to that, or you don't hold to that?
Well, if you were focused on God, then you're getting the ability. They have something called metaphysics, which is a great power that comes from God. Like you guys have prophets, right? You have Jesus is a prophet, Moses is a prophet. Moses parted the sea. That's metaphysics. He was getting that power from God to part the seas. Regular human beings can't do that because they're not in tune with God. They're not focused on God. Jesus was able to walk on water. That's power of metaphysics. Guru Nanak was able to stop a boulder that was coming down from an avalanche with his bare hands. These are power metaphysics that you get from God if you're in
Guru Nanak did what?
He stopped a rock rolling down a hill.
He stopped a rock?
Yeah. Well,
how big was the rock?
There was a Hindu who tried to kill him because he was going around spreading the message of one God, and he didn't like that because he was he controlled a river flow of water, and he was a strong, big Hindu guy. And Guru Nanak, he had 2 messengers with him. He had Bhai Mardana was one of them, who was a Muslim. He told him to go up that hill because the people that were downstream weren't able to get the water because the Hindu charlatan dude was controlling the water flow. He pretending like he's God, he can control who gets water and who doesn't. So what he tried to do, Bhai Mardana went up there and told him, hey, this is God's water. Why are you letting these people starve to death? Why are you letting them not get any water? So the dude was like, I don't care. And Guru Nanak diverted the flow of water with his bare hands. And then
how did he do that?
A rock, because he had a dam. It was a dam that was blocking the flow of water. And when he was at the bottom of the water. So when he seen the people finally get the water, and Guru Nanak was started converting all these people, he's like, oh, they're no longer Hindu.
No. I'm trying to understand the Guru Nanak part. So what did Guru Nanak do?
Well, the guy had a rock that he threw down the hill, and it was coming down. You're standing in front of an avalanche, you're gonna get crushed, right? Unless you got the power of God who's gonna save you. So
I'm confused. What do you mean avalanche? Is it a rock or is it loads of rocks?
It was a big old rock.
One rock
that was coming down the hill, and it was coming at high speeds. And he stopped it with his bare hand. And they have this in Pakistan. You could find the rock with his handprint on it.
Why do you believe this is true? Why do you believe this is true?
Because they have that. They have. You can look it up right now.
No. Why do you believe that actually happened in history?
Because there's multiple people that have given power by God that have done supernatural.
No. Why do you believe Guru Nanak stopped a rock rolling down the hill? Why do you believe that's an historical event that occurred?
Well, number one, they actually have evidence of that hand. It's in Pakistan.
What's the evidence?
The evidence is his handprint in the rock.
And how does that prove that it stopped a rock rolling down a hill?
Well, if the rock's coming down the hill, it's at the bottom of the hill.
No. How does having a rock in Pakistan with a handprint on it?
Had more history beyond that.
I'm just trying to understand your religion, mate. So how does a rock in Pakistan with a handprint on it prove that this event occurred in history?
Well, because the dude, this is events that happened. The guy tried to kill him.
No. I hear the stories you've been told as a child. I hear that. But I'm trying to marry up why this rock in Pakistan with a handprint on it is the rock that Guru Nanak stopped, and why you believe Guru Nanak did do the stopping of the rock.
Well, because the guy, these are like, you got different people had different stories. Like Jesus has stories.
No. We're talking about Guru Nanak here.
We write them down. We prescribe them, right?
Hamza and Supreet, can we go back to the initial
argument of why
I really do believe this is the perfect storm. This is the perfect storm, guest man.
To be honest, Supreet.
Yes, sir.
There's nothing that you've said to me that proves that Sikhism is true and that somehow Islam is deficient.
Well, no, that's why I wanted to get to that point, because
right,
Islam, you guys believe that
just one
God
second.
exists only in heaven, right?
Supreet, just 1 second.
Yes, sir.
So your assertion that God being outside of his creation in the physical sense somehow is something that's deficient, when Hamza pointed out to you that if
God is not outside of his creation, God is within his creation. God created everything.
Just bear with me, Supreet.
God was the rock.
Supreet, just bear with me. What you said to us is that because we say God is not physically inside everything, therefore this is somehow deficient of God. But then when Hamza said to you that, and Imran said to you that if God is in everything, then na'uzubillah, he's in dog poo or excrement or all of the things that we as human beings would regard as foul and would not want to be in those things, unpure things. And you're saying that no, God is inside all of those things. And if you don't believe that is somehow deficient. And I don't understand how that's proof or evidence in any way.
No. God created everything. God created you and gave you the ability to do what you do as we humans do.
Okay.
You're
Supreet,
viewing it as negative.
Perhaps
what Sikhism says, the beauty of God exists everywhere, all around you.
Okay.
You can be covered in shit, but God is everywhere. You think that shit is bad, but if you're thinking that, it's just God, you're going to get power. I don't. But if you just see it as negative, then you're viewing as God's creation as negative. You're not going to get the power of metaphysics. You're not going to be able to do great things.
Supreet, I'm going to get Ijaz in there and Nazam in there, and then because to be honest, you did.
I want to get to the point about. I want to ask you guys some questions. And
well,
you guys said why
you did actually make your point initially as to why you feel Sikhism is true and Islam is perhaps deficient, and we're dealing with that. So I'd like to get Ijaz in there, and then Nazam in there as well.
I'm just a little bit confused because I started looking up the handprint on the rock, and it actually says that it was carved as a sign that this was actually the rock that was stopped, not that the handprint came on the rock because of having stopped it. It was carved by a person called Maharaja Ranjit Singh, who lived in the late 18th to the mid 19th century.
Yeah, Maharaja Ranjit Singh was a king. He wouldn't have time to do some stuff like that. He was conquering territory.
Well, I'm pretty sure he could commission it.
Yeah, it actually says it was carved on the rock while it was built in the Mughal style by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And the imprint of a right hand was carved on the rock, not by Maharaja Ranjit Singh, but during his time. So I'm a bit just confused. Where did you get the legend that the hand print came when it actually stopped the rock?
That's exactly what happened. He stopped the rock with his hand, and then you can see that's the rock that was stopped.
No, but he just demonstrated that handprint's not the handprint of Guru Nanak.
Well, I want to know where you got that. Who wrote about that?
I just Googled it on Wikipedia. That's what it literally says.
I can go on Wikipedia right now and change it up. But look.
I would like you to do that, but
how would you feel, Supreet? How would you feel as if this handprint was indeed carved in the time of this Mughal king, and wasn't the actual?
No, he wasn't
handprint?
a Mughal king. He was a Sikh king. But
Sikh king, okay. Okay. I'm not really bothered about the specifics. I'm talking about the idea.
Didn't exist at that
I'm
time.
talking about the idea that handprint is not that of Guru Nanak, but it was later carved. How would that make you feel with regards to this legend?
You seen the rock? You seen pictures of it, right?
There's pictures on the Wikipedia page. Yeah.
Okay. You showed me pictures of a rock that had a handprint carved into it. That doesn't marry up with your story that the handprint is that of Guru Nanak.
But he stopped the rock. The point I was making was that God gave him the power to stop a rock.
No, the rock was your evidence, and the handprint apparently on it was Guru Nanak's, is what you said.
No, the evidence was that the guy tried to kill him, and he
that's not evidence.
Survived an avalanche.
Okay. And King Arthur tried to pull a sword out of a stone.
He did, by the way. That's how your country was founded, Hamza.
Yeah,
it makes sense. You don't know.
There's a stone with a sword in it in Camelot.
All right, guys. Nazam, just one second. Nazam, do you want to add anything before we get the other guests on? Because we've got quite a few other guests on waiting.
But I think Supreet should come
I want to get to just one main point that I want you guys to answer. Is
just 1 second. Nazam, do you want to add anything to what we've been discussing so far?
Well, I was just going to say Sikhism actually teaches that God doesn't incarnate. So that would imply that God isn't everywhere, at least in the literal or physical sense.
Yeah, God is immortal.
Sikhism is against incarnation as well as idol worship.
No, we believe that God is not born. God has always existed. There's no birth.
Do you believe that God became a man or a plant or an animal or something when you say God is everywhere?
When God created you, God already existed.
So also I was wondering, if God is everywhere, then why can you not worship anything since God is in everything? So why can you not
worship
idols
it like that
God
is the only God?
idols?
You cannot worship that this is the one God. And everything else.
Why can you not? If God is in everything, then why can you not worship anything and everything like an idol? Since God is everywhere and is in everything.
That's what the Hindus say, isn't it? God is in the idol.
No, that's a sin. You can't claim that this is the only one God, because there is only one God. You can't.
But he's supposed to be
this thing is the one God. This is the one God. you can't worship items and say, oh, this is just the one God.
And also, I was wondering why in Sikhism, like, I don't mean any disrespect, but by my questioning, but in Sikhism, you do have like lots of images of your Guru Nanaks or of your scholars and sheikhs. And do you not like bow down to them and also to your holy scriptures? Do you not bow to your holy scriptures as well? So is that an act of worship?
We worship the knowledge that's given to us by God. We acknowledge that God gave us wisdom, and we bow down. It's not like us worshiping it. We're bow down as a sign of respect.
Okay. So what about your book that's in bed in the temple? What's that about?
It's called the Sikh Guru Granth Sahib. It's
why is it in bed?
In bed, you mean like it's just a way of giving it respect. It's like you don't put the Quran on the ground, right?
No. You think it's alive? You think it's the living guru?
The living guru. It's no. What gurus were teachers.
I know, and according to Sikhs I've spoken to,
Guru Granth Sahib is just a teach.
But here's the thing: you see, Sikhs I've spoken to said that the book is living, it's alive, it's a living guru, the actual book.
In the sense that God exists everywhere, so everything, and within everything, all things. So it is.
I've got one last question for you, anyway. I want you to come to the perfect storm, but I just want to know what good deed a badger could do to come back as something better than a badger.
I mean, don't be a bad person, man. Don't be killing people without
a badger.
Reasons.
Not a badger. How does a badger be good or bad?
How does a badger be good? Well, the idea of understanding God only can come in through human.
Badger.
Human life.
How does it get reincarnated as a human? What good thing can a badger do in its life to become a human?
Well, you just got to go through life and death, bro. As simple as that.
No. What can it do? What good could it do? Or what evil could it do to be punished for its evil deed, or to be rewarded for its good deeds? What could a badger do?
Oh, I don't know. That's God's.
No, you believe this thing. You believe animals can become humans, yeah?
Well, yeah. I believe that humans can either go to God, or if they're not good, they get reincarnated and go through multiple.
So when the human's in an animal,
so if I cause a lot of pain and suffering to people, I got to go through multiple lives.
No, what about an animal?
As a small animal,
how does an animal do good deeds?
As much pain and suffering as I cause to other people, I'm gonna get it back.
How does an animal do good deeds?
How does the animal do good deeds? That's beyond my understanding.
Do you understand the conundrum?
I can only tell you how a human could do good things.
So, do you understand the
human has free will. That's why. Anyway.
So the main point I even came onto this is to show that when you guys believe that God only exists in heaven, right?
No.
So you believe that
heaven is created by
God is everywhere,
God
right?
existed before the creation of heaven, so he exists without time and space.
Okay, yeah,
God
does exist
space
without
and
time and space,
including heaven.
But in the Quran, it doesn't say that God exists only in heaven, right?
Quran doesn't say God exists in heaven.
It doesn't say God exists in heaven.
Yes, it doesn't say that.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. But I've talked to multiple Muslims who say that God only does exist in heaven, does not exist on earth.
So, Preet, I invite you to the perfect storm. We'll do it on a Thursday. You can come on and tell us.
Every Thursday?
In the meantime, I'm going to read this book. For when
what is that, bro? My screen's real small.
Okay, I'll do it like this. 1 second. Sikhism, yeah? Because I've got a question for you. Do you believe your gurus were messengers of God?
Yeah. Anyone who talks about one God is a messenger of God.
So why don't you do what they say?
Which is what? Worship God?
Don't cut your hair and wear a turban.
Well, bro, I'm not a perfect Sikh. I'm trying to get there, bro. You see me growing my beard. It's only been 3 months, and I haven't cut my hair in 3 months. Well, I'm gonna start growing it out.
Well, there's different schools of thought in Sikhism as well.
Well, I mean, I could say the same thing to Ijaz over here. He don't got a beard, and it doesn't. Muhammad say, or the Quran say, you have to grow your beard out. No, it doesn't say that.
No.
Then why are you all growing your beards?
That's a different story. You don't know much about Islam, I don't think, to be honest. Because you keep making these accusations. Doesn't the Quran say this? No. Doesn't the Quran say that? No.
So the Quran says not to grow your beard.
Have you read the Quran?
No, it doesn't.
I've read parts of it. I can't say I read it from start to finish.
Guys. Supri, thank you very much for coming on. And if you'd like to come, yes, you can come in, Ijaz. Just 1 second. Supri,
Yes, sir.
do come onto the Perfect Storm if you would like to. I think personally, I think the conversation is actually not going anywhere at the moment. Ijaz, last sort of thing there, and then we get somebody else on.
Yeah, I don't choose not to have my beard. I just can't due to a medical condition. So,
all right, well, I'm sorry for bringing that up, bro. God bless you, man. I don't want to.
You didn't know, so I don't have a problem. You didn't know, so it's not like I don't feel bad about it. But thank you for the comparison. I understand the reason why you did it.
But what it did expose your ignorance of the Quran once more, though, Supri.
Well, I'm learning something. I was ignorant. So it says the Quran says not to grow your beard.
No, the problem is you haven't read the Quran.
No, I have not read the Quran from start to finish.
No, you haven't. I know you haven't. Because you keep making these accusations about the Quran that it doesn't say, and you keep doing it, and then
I'm supposing, you know, like I've seen 90% of Muslims grow their beard. I'm thinking it must be in the Quran that makes them do that, right?
Don't assume.
It's a tradition of the Prophet, peace be upon him. But
not just the Prophet. It's a tradition of the prophets. Yeah, but the point is, Gobind Singh make this one of your 5Ks, isn't it? The turban, the growing of their hair, the nails, the not the nails, the bangle,
the bracelet,
the sword.
The sword,
There's 5, isn't there?
Because every Sikh has to be a warrior, has to be ready to defend.
Yeah, but only the 10th Guru said that, though, isn't it?
No. It started with the 6th Guru. But
who's the 6th Guru?
Guru Har Gobind Singh.
Gobind Singh.
Guru Har Gobind Singh.
Oh, and what's the difference between him and the 10th Guru?
Well, he was the first one who started the martial tradition for Sikhism. His dad, Guru Angad Singh, was the 5th Guru, was executed by the Mughal emperor for, for his reasons. I'm not going to say he was a Muslim, but because I know your religion, you're not allowed to force people to convert. But he didn't convert to Islam.
One last question I do want to ask you, because I've heard this from Sikhs, and I've heard some Sikhs deny it and some Sikhs believe it. So you can tell me whether or not what your is. So apparently there was one guy, I don't know his name, and he was captured by the Mughals. And he said, if you convert me to Islam, all of India will become Muslim.
Yeah, that was so Guru Tegh Bahadur.
And they tried chopping him and he wouldn't chop, and they tried boiling him and he wouldn't boil, and they put him in fire and he didn't burn.
That was Guru Tegh Bahadur, and the people that you're talking about that were boiled and that were chopped were his.
No, there's one particular person who they tried to boil him, but he wouldn't boil, and they tried to cut him and his skin wouldn't cut, and they tried to put him in fire and he wouldn't burn. Who is this?
I never heard of that.
Oh, okay, because I've heard.
Guru Angad Dev Ji was boiled alive. They boiled him, and he didn't scream. He didn't make no noise because he was just focused on God. He didn't show no pain, so he just was praying at that time. And that's the power of God. You just pray. You feel no pain and suffering.
Supreet, thank you very much for coming on, brother.
Thank you guys, man. I appreciate you guys. Hopefully, I can come on again. When are you guys live again?
So we do a stream on a Thursday. Week of Thursday. And you're welcome to come on that stream. Maybe it might be a good idea if you actually read the Quran, and then maybe you'll have some arguments in terms of exactly what you...
I learned something new today,
You have a lovely evening, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, brother. God bless you guys, man. I appreciate
it. Nice to meet you. Thank you for your time.
Sorry.
Okay, so we've got this person interested. I think they couldn't come on last time. Let's just try once more very quickly. Interested? Are you there?
Carlos? Chat, can you behave yourself?
Last chance.
Hi, Carlos.
Okay, Carlos, sorry, we can't get you on. So it's no point having you in the back chat. David Johnson, welcome to the stream.
Troll account is going to play a sound and leave.
David. Okay, David can't come on. Michael. Michael, welcome to the stream.
Sig Heil, fuck.
Who was that? Was that
Abbas brought him back a second time. Abbas,
it's the same guy, man.
Once you see them cover half their face, just like knock down.
Did you see his big fat cheeks again?
Anyway,
Get the Michael Myers haircut and the big fat cheeks. Look out for that next time.
Okay. So, Jamie?
I'm actually confused why he thinks shouting victory here would upset Muslims.
Hello?
Confusing. Yes, Jamie.
Do you hear me?
We can. Can you just not speak too much into the
Are you flying a
microphone?
plane?
What?
Yeah, you need to turn your YouTube off.
Mine?
Yeah, okay. Jamie, you need to turn YouTube off and just have StreamYard. Otherwise, you're going to get an echo. Let's just see if we can get David on while you sort that out, Jamie. David? 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 Okay, no David. Okay, Jamie. Hi, Jamie. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better, Jamie. So you're welcome to the stream, Jamie. What's your point that you'd like to make?
I'm Christian now, but I think I want to convert into Muslim.
Okay,
I don't know the language very good, but I can understand something about what you are saying. So I don't know how can I change from Christianity to Muslim.
And Miguel, Jamie, can I ask you where are you from? What country are you from?
I'm from the United States.
United States. And have you been studying Islam?
I'm from no, I'm from Colombia.
Okay.
I know how to speak Spanish. If someone can speak Spanish, I'm from Colombia, and I have my cousin is a girl and is married with a Muslim man, and he's talking me through the process to changing into Muslim, and I basically want to change into Muslim.
Alhamdulillah.
And I don't know.
All right. Okay, Alhamdulillah.
Neil Castro. Uno momento, por favor. Uno momento. Neil Castro, come on the stream, brother, and let's see if you can help out, inshallah. Hablo un poco español. Muy mal. So let's see if we can get brother Neil Castro in and see if he can come on, inshallah.
It doesn't matter. I can speak English. It's like my
we're going to speak Spanish to you, my brother.
Yeah, but I think he understands enough English to do the Shahada if he wants to do the Shahada. So, brother Jamie, you want to do you want to become Muslim now? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So if we do the Arabic, you repeat after us, and then we will do the English, and then you repeat after us, and then inshallah ta'ala you will be Muslim then.
Are you here?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So if you want to become Muslim, you have to do what is called the Shahada. You have to testify in Arabic and in English. Do you want to do the Do you want to testify to that now?
Yes, but I have a small question because my cousin, my parent cousin, my cousin friend, my Islamic friend, has taught me about the Prophet Muhammad. I think that is his name, no?
Yes.
How old was his marriage?
His wife, Aisha. See?
His wife. He told me about he had a lot of marriage, and he told me that there was underage. Is that true? Underage? No,
it's not true.
I think that that's true, but I think that is.
No, it's not true.
Huh?
No, it's not true. He didn't marry anybody underage.
Who was the oldest one? The youngest one.
Okay, you said he married somebody underage, and the answer is no. What's your problem now?
One?
Huh?
Who was the youngest one?
Yeah, Aisha.
And how old was her?
What's that got to do with anything with regards to you becoming a Muslim?
I don't know. It's a thing that he told me. He told me
what's that
that
got to do with what's that got to do with you becoming a Muslim?
I don't know, but it's just a question.
Why do you care?
I don't know.
What are you asking for then?
Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, thought so.
Troll. Yep.
Okay, it's going to be one of those.
I'm so excited.
When he said that, have you asked the question? Have you looked into Islam? And he said no.
Yeah.
That was the sign right from the beginning.
No, but then it sounded like a language thing.
Then he said that he spoke to
Muslim, married to a Muslim,
or something or whatever. But anyway, it's like dealing with 5-year-olds.
It's for me. This is all that people are left with.
Yeah.
Because they have no intellectual challenge to the religion. Yeah. So what they do is they do these sorts of things. And I think it's quite telling that rather than as a Christian you come forward with an argument that's going to be effective against the religion, that you resort to these tactics. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I think some people move into that role of being a 5-year-old very, very easily. They're very comfortable.
Talking about
I could hear a pass. Ready for the shahada.
Well, if there's a shahada, on the cards, then alhamdulillah, why not? It's always a huge thing.
Alhamdulillah.
David Johnson. David,
you got to unmute yourself. You're muted.
David Johnson.
He says it isn't working. Okay, yeah, I should
Chocolate
apologize.
cake lover.
Hello?
Hi there. Can you hear us?
Hello?
Yes, hi there. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, who can do?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can do.
Okay, great. So,
what brings you to the stream?
So basically, my question is. I have a question regarding the mainstream view on mainstream Islam view on the return of Jesus. So I'm an Ahmadi Muslim.
Right.
And chapter. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Make your point.
Hello? Okay, yeah. Sorry, because the mic's going like a bit off. Yeah, so basically in chapter 5, verse 170 to 118, it says that when God will ask Isa ibn Maryam about his return, he responds that he does not know anything about the. Hello?
Yes, Curry, continue.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Can you just make your point?
Chocolate lover.
Okay, can we just move on? Because
honestly,
but we thank you for coming. But figure out the mic stuff, and we'll bring you back on another time, please. Abbas has to sleep early tonight as usual. So
nothing about my sleep. I'd like to have a
Good
meaningful
afternoon.
conversation. Good afternoon, Richard. How are you? Or good evening.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can do.
Yep.
Oh, well, first and foremost, I would like to say that it's a privilege to come to this stream to talk about these topics. And I'm just have a few questions that I just wanted to talk about, if there's no problem.
Not a problem. Go ahead, Richard.
Okay, thanks. So I've started to get an interest on everything that is the Quran, and I started reading it and stuff like that. But after I started to read it, the thing is that my foreskin has been getting
As if the Quran mentions circumcision.
I have to be honest. I think this is like the worst stream, to be honest, that we've had in a very long time. There's been like trolls one after another.
Yeah, because they're desperate. You see, they have to malign Islam in any way they can. And so if they act like a 5-year-old, then which is effectively their intellectual age,
someone shared the link to the stream on a troll forum. So
yeah,
I think we take only the people that we usually trust.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm only going to allow anybody on now if your camera is on and I can see your face. If you're not prepared to do that, we're going to actually end the stream. I'm not going to get anybody else on and let you trolls just waste time onto doing whatever else that you want to do.
For the last caller, what he needs to do is, in all honesty, I doubt you have one. So I would actually go see a specialist for help with that. Dr. Iman, as much as he would like to help you, he's not into that kinky stuff on camera. Brother Abbas.
All right. So we've got the brother who's put his camera on. Brother Yunus, are you Muslim?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, brother, this is not for Muslims. This stream is for non-Muslims. We do an open forum or a Dawah clinic, which is actually for sorry, not open forum, for the floor is yours, and Dawah clinic for Muslims, brother. So if you don't mind, this is not for Muslims. Yeah, is that okay?
It's okay. Just
okay, brother, you have a lovely evening.
You guys.
Assalamu alaikum.
And a lovely evening. Assalamu
alaikum. If there's any Muslims in the back chat, please make sure, just be aware that we're not going to be able to get you on. So it has to be non-Muslims. So we've got Brother Waqas. I'm pretty sure you're Muslim as well, Brother Waqas.
Ex-Muslim.
I am not.
You're not a Muslim?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Oh, brilliant. I like these guys.
Excellent. So that's very nice of you to come on, Brother Waqas. So, Brother Waqas, what made you leave Islam?
It was a variety of different things. I used to pray like 4 times a day.
How many times a day?
4. I know. But I could never get to the Fajr prayers, because...
okay, there's your problem.
Sure. But praying every day, it just... I had to question myself, why am I praying? Are my prayers answered, or what good it does? It's very repetitive. It got to me. And, one day one of my friends just asked me if I'm a logical or rational person. And I said, yeah, I am.
Waqas,
and then,
could I ask you, how many rakat did you pray for the Maghrib prayer?
The 3 fard and 2 sunnah.
Okay, all right. I'm satisfied with that answer.
Okay, so I didn't pray Fajr. Fajr was a prayer I missed, and every day.
Brother Waqas, if I could if I could sort of just direct you back to the question I asked you, what was it specifically that made you leave Islam?
Just like I said, the repetitiveness of the prayers, and every day it just got to me that I didn't feel like it was helping. I didn't think there was doing anything.
So the repetitiveness of the prayer made you leave Islam?
Not just that, but like I said, one of my friends questioned.
Where are you from?
Pakistan.
Okay, why were you a Muslim?
Why was I Muslim?
Yeah.
Because I was born in it.
Yeah, but why did you believe it was true?
I was raised like that.
No, but why did you believe it was true?
Because
why did you believe what you were told?
That's what people do. That's how you grow up, right?
No,
if your
no, people think for themselves. No,
yeah.
People think for themselves.
And that's
why do you believe Allah was the only one worthy of worship? Why did you believe that Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was a messenger of Allah? Why did you believe these things?
That's what people around me believe. That's what I thought I should.
No. Why did you believe it?
When did I believe it?
No. Why did you believe it?
Like I said, I was raised into it.
Right. So you
Why
wasn't.
are Christians
All right, okay.
Christians? Why are Christians Christians?
Because here's
Why
my
are-
claim to you. Here's my claim to you, Mr. Waqas. There's no intellectual justification to leave Islam. So to leave Islam is not intellectual. There's no intellectual justification. It's an emotional one most of the time. Like you couldn't be bothered praying and keep praying and keep praying, or something along those lines. Because if you knew why you believed Allah was the one worthy of worship, then it doesn't matter how you're feeling. It doesn't change that reality. If you knew why the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, is a messenger of Allah, then it doesn't matter how you're feeling, because it doesn't change that reality. Hellfire doesn't go away because you can't be bothered praying Fajr. Paradise doesn't disappear either. Do you get me? So I don't think you even understood why you were a Muslim.
Like I said, the only reason I was Muslim was because I was raised in it. I didn't.
Yeah, but you didn't know why. Yeah, but yeah, it's fine. I get that.
Right.
But you haven't really left Islam because you didn't know what Islam was.
Yeah, but right now, what I know what I believed before.
What do you believe now?
Now I'm more of a agnostic atheist type.
So what do you believe? What you believe the universe created itself, caused itself? You believe that now?
I believe we don't know who created it, how it got created, and if it got created, we don't know if the.
No, that's not what you believe as an atheist.
Worship.
No, as an atheist, you believe this is all a product of random chance.
In a way, yeah, it is a chance, but like it's we're here, and how many possibilities are there that we aren't here? We just are here, so we know, like if you win the lottery.
No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Look, we're either here deliberately or accidentally. You believe we're here accidentally. If we're here accidentally, that means we're a product of randomness. Now, we can't even demonstrate randomness even exists, first thing. So that's just a presupposition you've just got to accept as true, because we can't demonstrate what is true randomness. But anyway, this is your presupposition. Then you've got to try to explain how it all started, how the fine-tuning occurred. Then you've got to explain how life on Earth came and how it all progressed to what it is today.
Yeah, just because I can't explain that doesn't.
No, it's not that. It's not you can't explain it. You've thrown God out the window. Do you believe in a creator?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't know for sure.
So why don't you believe in a creator? What's convinced you there isn't a creator?
Let me ask you something.
No, I'm asking you.
Yeah,
why don't you believe there's a creator?
I have a question about relevant to your question.
No, just answer my question rather than answer my question with a question.
Okay, what's your question again?
Okay, why don't you believe there's a creator?
Because I don't know if there's a creator. I just.
You said you don't believe there's a creator, though.
Right. Like, why would I believe it if I don't even know?
Well, the reason you could well believe in a creator or a intelligent mind behind everything is that all the sciences point towards it.
Well, you're looking at science through your own perspective. Like, you're seeing what you want to see.
No.
There are scientists that are atheists, and
no. I'm saying to you, all the scientists, all the sciences, chemistry, biology, physics, all point to an intelligent mind behind the universe.
Okay.
All of them. Yeah. The only problem is with your atheist scientists is that they don't believe in the supernatural, so they have to go take the absurd probabilities of randomness.
If what you're saying is true, wouldn't all the scientists be believers?
Why would they be?
Because you're saying all the science points to it, and they would.
Well, yeah, but they ignore that. This is the point. They ignore it. This is the thing you see. You're pinning your hat on people who have the biggest blind faith you can imagine, more than any religious person, more than the Hindu and his monkey army. These guys, the probabilities that they're pinning their presuppositions to are so absurd. But because the alternative is a creator, they still pin their mass to them, and they act like this is some kind of rational, intellectual thing to do.
I think you've given them an image in your mind that it just doesn't apply to them. Like, you would have to ask them why they don't believe in it. You can't just say that they're blind to this. If you're saying their sign, what's one definitive sign? What's one one science?
Okay, one science, physics, explain fine-tuning.
I don't even know what that is.
I really don't.
It seems
chemistry, explain carbon.
I mean, it seems, Waqas, that
It's an element.
You were following. If we accept your story at face value, it seems like you were following your society, and now you're following atheism without actually looking at any of it.
With the same blindness.
Because basic questions, you claimed rationality. This is not demonstrable on an atheist or an agnostic worldview. You claimed, that Brother Hamza asked you a very basic question about fine-tuning. You have no idea what that is. So I doubt that even your position that you've arrived at, I doubt there's any. My view is, I don't know you. You can maybe explain, but I doubt there's actually, you have not established your position for where you are. Now we all don't bring out the carbon. We all are socialized, whether you're atheist or you're agnostic or whatever. When we're young, this is just normal growing up. Then you get to a stage where you start to use your own thinking in your brain, and you verify, you check things for yourself. Most people go through this process. It seems like you haven't been through that process of self-reflection and learning and establishing why you believe what you believe, and you've fallen for scientism, which is this idea that science is the way to learn about truth, which is actually false.
No, I'll stop you there just because that's not right. I didn't convert out of Islam because I believe in science.
I didn't say you did.
Converted out. You said I started following scientism. That's not.
I said you've gone from one to following the other.
Not exactly.
What he said to you, you were a Muslim and you didn't know why. Now you're an atheist and you don't know why.
I know why I'm an atheist. I know why.
No, you don't.
How why can you tell me what I do know and what I don't know?
Why are you an atheist?
Because I'm not a Muslim and I'm not any other religion. I don't believe in a deity. I don't believe there's a creator that created us. That's what you're worshiping. That's what an atheist is.
Yeah, but why?
Why? Because
what is your reason for having? What is your reason for thinking that this is a reasonable position to hold as a worldview?
Okay. If you guys think about it, when Muslims say the Shahada, right? You say, I testify that there is no God except Allah. But
no, we don't say that. We don't say that.
Person,
Wakas, we don't say that.
Say? What do you say?
We say there's none worthy of worship except Allah.
Right. So, okay, let's say that. But how can you testify that as an honest person? How can you, as a single person, testify to that when you don't know Allah?
Okay, who's more worthy of worship?
Nobody.
So that's what I say.
Nobody that I know. Nobody that I know. I can say that honestly.
That's what we're saying. There's nobody worthy of worship. And you just said it. You agree with us. Why are you questioning us?
Okay, Ijaz and
I say not
Wakas, just 1 second. Brother Ijaz, would you want to have a conversation at all with Wakas?
I would like to give my time to Dr. Imran if he wants to use it. If not, yeah.
Wakas, can I just ask you one thing? I'm sorry.
Just very quickly, I was just going to say about the prayers. Wakas mentioned that he didn't get anything out of the prayers, and I think it's understandable given what he said, because he said, he was born into a Muslim family and he was just copying or being told what to do. So it's not surprising that you wouldn't have gotten like anything out of the prayers if you were just simply, just doing what someone was telling you to do. And this is why it's important that we also teach, when we teach Islam to our family members and others, we teach them like the purpose behind the praying and not simply pray because I told you to pray.
No, I was pretty involved in my local mosque. I used to go to Jamaat. I went 2 times.
Why were you praying?
Why was I praying?
Yeah.
Various reasons.
Okay.
One of the reasons that would be top would be because it's society around me. That's how if you're in a Muslim family, that's why you would pray, that's why you would fast.
But that's not the right reason to pray.
And then if you're religious, you pray because you believe in Allah and you want to worship him, right? That's why you fast. And you truly believe that. That's why you would pray.
Yes.
So the question isn't really about the question isn't really about the belief. It's about why you believe. What is the reason that you So you are doing the. You're saying that you are following without thinking.
Yeah. Would you agree?
Or had you thought about does God exist or not before this?
Before, you mean when I used to pray?
When you said that you were a Muslim, did you at any point go through your mind why you believe that, why it is reasonable to be a Muslim? What is the rational basis for being a Muslim?
No, I never thought about that.
Yeah, so that's the problem.
Could I make a comment here? Wakas, can you hear us?
Yeah.
All
Go ahead.
Dr. Imran is asking you, and all that Brother Nizam has asked you, is if you grew up in a Muslim home, in a Muslim country, at some point you would ask yourself, okay, why do I believe what I believe, and how am I meant to understand it? So, for example, when we go to the prayer, the Imam sometimes gives a little bit of a bayan, a lecture, or some nasiha before or after. There were lectures, there were classes you can go to. If someone asked me the question one day, are you an intellectual or rational person? My first choice isn't to reject Islam. My first choice is to think, okay, what can I do to understand my Islam? So if I may ask you the question, Wakas, when your friend asked you that question, was that the first time in your entire life that someone raised a question of your intelligence or your rationality? First time ever?
When it comes to religion, yes.
So you never used the internet, you never hung out with friends. That was the very first time.
No, I mean, internet is internet. There constantly, anybody would question your intelligence on the internet. You could...
Right. So when the people on the internet questioned your intelligence, or you saw videos about how Islam is false, didn't you look into the claims? Didn't you try to study a bit more? Or did you just ignore what was on the internet?
I ignored it, I would say, because, it's a lot of trolls. I wouldn't have taken that seriously.
But how do you know it's trolls and just dismissive of it? Why weren't you equally dismissive of your friend?
Because a person is hard to ignore when they're in person in front of you, and you have to work with them. You have to talk with them.
Okay, so he asked you this question. What was the next thing you did? Did you take a class in Islam? Did you go to a sheikh?
I thought about my prayers, why I pray, and I thought about how it's, why do we pray? Because it's in the scripture, why it's in the Quran, and it's 1400 years old. How there's no guarantee that it's right, and the only thing that says it's right is the scriptures and the hadiths and those books, and there's no guarantee they're right. The only thing telling them right is those
here
books.
was the question then, Wakas. Why didn't you go to a scholar or an alim, someone who studies the philosophy of religion and can answer these questions and teach you the tools to understand your deen?
Because I've already made up my mind, and I don't want to discuss that so openly.
Subhanallah. So you made up your mind. You could have lied and you could have said, I have doubts, I have questions. And Imam is not going to beat you up for asking a question.
No, the Imams don't answer those questions. The Imams will say, just have faith, or don't ask those questions. Allah knows best. Or
hold up, I don't buy that story, because I know many Pakistani ulama that have lectures on the existence of God and the evidences for it. You're making it seem as if Pakistan is devoid of a single person on the face of the planet that has asked themselves this question. And I fail to believe that. Even the founder of your country wrote poems on the very nature of God and why we should believe that God exists. So I've got to tell you, you're making it seem as if that Pakistan is a place with uneducated people. Is this the case?
No.
No?
I am Pakistani, but I don't live in Pakistan.
Okay.
Right now. And
right, so if you're outside of Pakistan, couldn't you have
right.
gone to an imam in wherever you are at right now and told them
That's
about these disagreements?
When I did, right, and I had questions, I received answers such as, have faith, and we can't know that answer for sure. Allah doesn't.
What was your question?
We
What
don't
was your
know
question?
X, Y, Z because Allah doesn't want us to know X, Y, Z.
What was your question?
I don't remember, but I remember the answer.
You don't remember the
being
question?
Something very vague. Yes, I don't remember the question.
Well, your question must have been vague to get a vague answer.
Sorry?
So in 9 to 10 years, you've not heard a single Muslim scholar discuss the philosophy of religion.
No, I've heard it. See, when I was a Muslim, I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos about Islamic lectures and debates, and I was very curious about this stuff. So I've seen.
Beautiful. Which Muslim debater did you see debate on the concept of atheism and agnosticism?
Right now, I don't remember his name exactly, but Sheikh Ahmed was like one of them. There was another.
Who?
Like
Ahmadiyya was a polemic against Christianity. Polemicist against Christianity. What's it got to do with atheism?
It was a long time ago. I don't remember their exact names right now.
Well, do you remember the atheists that they debated? Because clearly the atheists would have asked questions like, why is Allah real? How do you know the Quran is authentic? This happens in every debate that a Muslim has with a non-Muslim.
There's never
I've got to be honest, Bacchus. I've got to be honest with you, Bacchus. You know, I grew up in a Muslim family, alhamdulillah, but I grew up in a non-Muslim culture, and I've got to tell you, I didn't close my eyes and choose to believe in Islam because my family told me to believe in it. I came to believe in Islam because it burned in my heart so much that I wanted to know why Muslims believe. When I pray, I wanted to get closer to my Lord, so I took classes. I watched lectures. I bought books. If the only thing I did was, give up because I didn't like the people around me, then how does that make sense? It just sounds like you were looking for an excuse not to be a Muslim, and you don't seem to have very intellectual claims against Islam. That's why Brother Nizam is asking you why. That's why Dr. Imran is asking you why. That's why Hamza is asking you why. Because a person who actually wants to explain why they disbelieve in what they believe, they will not come up with an answer like, I didn't like the prayer. There must be intellectual reasons. You could not pray. I mean, it's a fiqh difference. You could not pray and you can still believe in Allah. You can believe in the Quran. I don't get this. I've got to be honest with you. It seems absurd to me. May I ask, Wakas, are you over the age of 18 or are you under the age of 18?
Over.
Okay, are you over the age of 30 or under the age of 30?
Over.
My goodness, may Allah help you.
Okay. But Wakas, before you go, I'd just like to ask you one question. Is it reasonable to reject something if you don't even know what it's really about?
It's enough to reject something if I know what its face value. I didn't reject Islam because I didn't like the prayers, like Brother Jaz said. And I rejected it. Let me finish my answer earlier. I rejected it because I thought about it, and the entire premise of our religion, it just doesn't hold up. Like,
what did you think about, and what didn't hold up?
People telling each other to pray to God. That's what.
It's not people. It's not people telling you to pray to God.
Generation.
That's not that though, is it?
Okay.
It is.
Hamza,
we're
gonna. No, it's not. It's God telling you to pray to Him.
God never said to me. When did God say this to me?
Okay,
in the Quran.
Hamza, we've got other guests, and it's already midnight. So,
right.
Wakas,
that God said this.
Wakas,
the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him.
But he has passed away, right? He's not here.
No, he's not here.
He said it. How do I know he actually said it?
Because his words are in the hadith, in the narrations of what he said, and the Quran is the Quran. 1 second. The Quran has been preserved, and it's there for you to read it today. No excuses, mate.
How do I know the Quran is true?
Why? How do you know the Quran is true? Have you tested its claims? Have you read it?
Why would I test it? How do I know?
Have you read it? Have you read it?
Why would you test it?
Yeah. So this is.
Have you read the Quran?
I have read it.
In your language?
Yes.
Okay. Which part of it didn't make sense?
It's not about just one part. I'm saying that.
Well, name one part that didn't make sense to you when you read the Quran.
Hold up. Like,
what didn't hold up?
The entire premise of somebody telling generations ago to pray, and God himself not saying pray. There's no proof that God said pray.
But Wakas, you're burying yourself slowly in illogical statements, my friend. Yeah, your story, unfortunately, it appears, I don't, I'm not judging you, but it's unwinding. Everything you're saying is unwinding, because you're not.
More logical
just give me one
saying
second. Let me just
only
make a
God
sentence.
says so.
Just give me one sentence, Waqas. So basically, you started off. Somebody asked you a question that you'd never thought about. You're a rational being, and somehow that led you to leave Islam because you weren't getting anything from your salah. And then you said you didn't think about it, and now you said you did think about it. And then you said that the premise that someone tells you to pray to God is flawed, which is bizarre because that's not a premise in itself. That you have to start with the beginning, whether or not the creator exists. You don't know anything about the science that you say that would give the idea that the universe is established itself in some way. Everything that you're saying doesn't really fit, my friend. And I think that it's in a way it sort of shows maybe the mindset that you're not willing to. And now you're being asked, did you ever test the Quran? And you're saying, why would I do that? I mean, that is a self-evident question. This is like a rhetorical question. Of course, the question, did you test the Quran? You should know. How can you reject something or without even testing it? What you're saying is that I rejected the whole premise. What was the premise? That somebody tells you to pray to God. Okay, but that's not that. You're starting in the middle of the conundrum. You have to start at the beginning. The universe is here. You are here. Explain this in your world from your worldview, if you're able to do that. If you've had a thought process that's rational,
the universe
explain that. If you're not able to explain this, then what will
doesn't have anything to do with Islam.
Sorry, say that again.
The universe being created or being here doesn't necessarily have something to do with just Islam. Other religions believe this.
It has everything to do with your atheism, mate.
This is a flaw in your thinking, Waqas. We're not talking. So I've said go to the beginning and establish the reason for the universe being here, for you being here. I've not mentioned a religion. Now you're bringing a failed claim, which many atheists bring. Look at how many religions there are. This is a false claim. You're confusing models of the creator with the creator. Now, if you have three theories of gravity, it doesn't mean gravity doesn't exist. This is just a strange thing that you're bringing. We're not talking about Islam now. Leave Islam to one side. First, you need to give me a reasonable account of where the universe has come from. If you're going to say, I don't know, then come back when you do.
So you say if three models of gravity and only the right one exists, but
no, that's not what I said. No, Waqas, that's not what I said to you. So don't misrepresent the words because it's very important.
Really comprehension issue.
Having multiple Waqas, 1 second. Having multiple concepts of a thing does not mean that thing does not exist. So I gave you an example. If you have three theories, Waqas, listen to the argument before you jump on it, because it's important for you to understand what you're responding to, because otherwise you're going to respond to something else.
I'm agreeing with you. I already gave you the point. That's true, right?
Okay.
So, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the gravity that you're putting forward is true.
But that's irrelevant. Right? So before you do, so we're talking about. So now the thing you're saying, it doesn't prove Islam is true. I'm not talking about Islam. I'm talking about the creator first. Can you explain the universe from your atheistic mindset? Explain it to me, your worldview. Explain to me how the universe is here, and then we can go forward. Explain to me how you have rationality. Explain to me how you have consciousness. Explain to me these things that don't make sense with your worldview. Is there morality? Is there not morality? Is there objective morality? Is there not objective morality? Is there value in things or not value in things? Is a human being worth more than a frog? In reality, does it have any status at all more than a frog? Establish this from your atheistic worldview, your mindset, and then we can go forward from there to discuss where this leads to. Now, I'm going to posit something very straightforward. As an atheist, you cannot prove that your mind exists. You cannot prove that you have rational thoughts. You cannot prove that the universe exists. And it goes on and on and on and on. You can't prove anything at all. You end up in a state where you become essentially someone who sits on the fence and says, I don't really know, and therefore I'm not going to make a decision. Well, then this is not a conversation to be had. This is a conversation for you to come back when you have a position to hold.
I want to make this a little bit simpler, okay? Let's say there is a creator who created the universe, right? How would you go ahead and say that it's the creator wants us to worship him?
So that's it now. So that's a very good question. Now, this is a very good question, but this is a secondary question. This is a secondary question.
But
The first question is, no, hang on a second, Waqas. You can't say, let's say, because this is disingenuous. Let's say that let's say God doesn't exist. Tell me how you have a rationality. Tell me how that works. Tell me how you can think first. Tell me that.
It's chemical reactions in the brain.
Okay, so chemical reactions in the brain. Do chemical reactions are they in your control or not in your control?
I'd say it's more like random chaos.
Okay, so is random chaos in your control or not in your control?
It's not exactly in my control. Like I
okay,
end
so
up
can you control your thinking then or not?
No.
Okay, so you have no rationality. Waqas, it's been lovely talking to you. Inshallah, whenever you get rationality, come and speak to us and we can go further from there, inshallah.
You haven't answered my question.
I have answered you. You have no question. Your question is automatically generated by the chemical reactions in your brain, either randomly or because of reactions that happen that you have no control over. You didn't ask a question because you wanted to. The question automatically came out because of the process of chemicals that are occurring within your brain.
And if you give me an answer that's logical and rational,
there is no,
Waqas,
you are unable to think because your thoughts are a result of the chemical reactions in your brain. There are no thoughts. You have no thoughts, Waqas.
That is what
you are thinking that you have thoughts, but you don't have thoughts. These are just chemical reactions that generate something that you feel is thought, but actually is not thought. It's not in control, and therefore you have no rationality. If you do not have no rationality, there's no discussion to be had. So I want you to come back to us when you are rational, please.
So you're telling me you've been basically talking to chemical reactions for this long?
Well, you've said to me that your thoughts are because of chemical reactions in your brain, and the chemical reactions are not in your control, they are random chaos, which you don't have any control over. Therefore, your thoughts are not in your control. You've already admitted this. If that is the case, then you do not have rational thought. So the person that asked you the question, your friend who asked you a long time ago, are you a rational being? Your answer to that question should have been no.
Okay, answer my one question and then I'll let you go. Just one
let
question.
us go.
Waqas, you can't have a question.
Suppose I wanted to convert back to Islam. How would you?
No, Waqas, you can't ask a question. Waqas, I need to know whether this question is coming from you or the chemical reactions that you have no control over.
I don't just believe like I don't have control. I believe all your thoughts are.
That's fine. So we're all glorified robots that are just doing whatever the chemical reactions happen. There's no such thing as truth because we can't think of anything other than what the chemical reactions tell us to think. We cannot have a thought process because our thought process is governed by the chemical reactions that are predetermined.
When you eat food and the food is in your stomach, you're not manually, actively thinking and digesting that food.
Red herring.
That's chemical reactions happening in your
Sure.
body.
I agree. But that's the red herring. We're talking about your thinking.
You as a being, kids
Waqas,
grow up.
we're talking about your thinking. Can you think independently or are you controlled by the chemical reactions in your brain?
I think that's just irrelevant and you're trying to get
this
away
is
from
this
the
is the
argument.
logical conclusion of the worldview that you hold, my friend. And
The
that's the problem.
argument is irrelevant. I think
before you
Okay,
go,
you're irrelevant. Abbas, just pull him off.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, Jazz. Do you want to say something?
Just pull him off. Dr. Iman gave him a logical argument and he says it's irrelevant.
I think
if he's not capable of logic, he's not.
Yeah. I think, Waqas, the problem here is
I said irrelevant, not illogical.
Waqas, just bear with me. Waqas, just bear with me. Waqas, look, I think the thing here is that you've admitted that you didn't really know very much about Islam, that you were brought up, and as an issue of tradition, or fitting into society you prayed. There was nothing else that motivated you to pray. And I think, with all respect to yourself, Waqas, what I feel has happened here is that you have left Islam and then you've looked for reasons to justify leaving Islam. I don't believe that you've arrived at that situation rationally. The very questions that you've asked, for example, why would God ask us to pray? These are basic explanations within Islam. This is not something that a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old would be taught. And the fact that you didn't know that, and the fact that nobody could relay that information to you, presumably because you said you couldn't find anybody, what that really does tell me, brother, is that you've arrived at a situation of rejecting something out of ignorance, not out of knowledge. Now, I don't mean that disrespectfully. Now, what I would say to you, Waqas, is this. There are many, many, many reasons, intellectual reasons, philosophical reasons, to arrive at why Islam is the truth, why the Quran is from God, why from Allah, why the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the messenger of God. Now, the fact that you haven't perhaps studied those reasons, you're assuming that those reasons don't exist. And I think that really is a problematic. I think what you should do, as Imran has said, is perhaps learn a little bit more, come back to us, or at least you owe it to yourself, Waqas, to at least study Islam in detail. And if you reject something after having the knowledge, I think that is at least being honest with yourself. Because if you just reject something without really knowing even the basics, I would say, about Islam, and a religion that you just followed as a consequence of peer pressure or whatever, that's not a reason to worship and to follow any religion or any thought for that matter. So I think that's a fair comment. Unless you think that's profoundly unfair, I'd like to sort of wish you a nice evening and welcome you back maybe at another time.
Can I just tack something on, though? I think he should do it the other way around, to be honest with you. He doesn't even believe in a creator. He needs to start there.
Yeah, I agree.
What I said was, even if there is a creator, there is no evidence that Islam is...
No, we'll start with the creator. Once you get to the creator, then we can move on.
Yeah.
See,
Waqas, the problem that you have...
How do you know he wants us to worship him?
Waqas, the problem that you have is that, you see, Imran is quite right. You use the term if. What if, even if there is a creator, how would be? Well, that's common sense. That if there is a creator, we would expect the creator to relay that information to us. But until you accept that a creator exists, any information that has come from the creator, you will reject on the basis that you don't believe in the creator in the first place. So it's crucial that you build your foundation first. Because if your foundation isn't there, there's no building. You can't build a building without the foundation. And the very foundation is that, do you accept that there are rational, reasonable reasons to believe that a creator exists?
There could be, but again, that gets very complicated. There's a whole universe, right? And there could be many universes. We don't know. I've never seen a universe start. You guys haven't seen a universe start. So essentially the argument, what you guys would say is like, if there's something exists, it's created, then there must be a creator, right? But then you have to say, we must see it being created by a creator.
No, we don't.
All right. I think, Hamza, we're going to end this conversation with Waqas. Waqas, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
I don't know why he came on, to be honest.
Well, I just think it's when
he come on to tell us he's left Islam, knew nothing about Islam, he's become an atheist, nothing's about what he's supposed to believe now. What are you coming on here for?
And the point that unless I see it being made, I'm not going to accept that it's been made. I mean, if I drive through London and I see thousands of buildings, I haven't seen probably most, if not all of those buildings actually being built. But common sense would tell me they probably were built by somebody. I mean, that's just common sense. I think that's just being rational. But
I learned that common sense ain't common from that conversation.
Yes, exactly. So I was going to get Diddling on as a last guest, but he doesn't seem to be there.
Oh, he's been there a while. He was eating something a minute ago.
Okay. So
Can you put that back up? Can you put that back up? That is the most interesting. What is hanging?
on
It's
there?
like the solar system lights. That chair.
I feel like I want to speak. I feel like I want to speak to him.
I want to speak to him too.
So many
Abbas, leave
questions.
it. Wow.
What's the medals all about?
Okay, well, listen, guys.
What kind of sports does he do?
Well, do that again.
Oh, he's back.
It's all about you, Diddling.
Diddling, what's going on?
Assalamualaikum, brothers.
Oh, brother, are you Muslim? Obviously.
I am a Muslim. Yes. I overheard my name being mentioned, although it was incorrectly.
What's your name, brother?
Didding.
Didding. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah,
no
brother.
problem.
This stream is not for Muslims, if you don't mind. We've got 2 streams that are for Muslims.
He gets a
Dawah
free pass
Clinic.
because of those decorations.
Seriously, he's got some stuff going on in that room.
A man with that many medals,
Guys,
Abbas, you want to turn away?
No,
Are you being serious?
Yeah,
No,
brother
this
Didding,
room
what it
belongs-
is that this
this
stream.
room belongs to my son.
Oh,
Mashallah.
mashallah.
Sorry, what was that? I didn't catch that. What was that?
It's
I
his
said
son.
this room belongs to my son. He
Okay.
just started his college.
Okay, lovely. Okay, brother Didding, if I could just request that you come onto the Muslim stream, which is Dawah Clinic, or the floor is yours, if you don't mind.
Inshallah, no problem.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Thank you for waiting. Sorry to not to allow you on. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, no problem. Walaikum.
Mad respect for a dad that wants to come on stream and mention his son that's going off to college. Proud dad right there. That's what we can
That's
tell.
nice.
mashallah.
That's lovely. Guys, shall we let one more person on, or shall we end the stream because it's nearly coming up to
As long as that person's name's not Ihsan.
Is this the Ehsan?
Oh,
or is
God.
it...
Oh God. He's going to end
Yes,
up
it's
defending
me.
incest. I'm going to predict right now. This conversation is going to end with him defending incest. Go on.
Is this
What's that
the Ehsan? Why don't you have your camera
Yes.
on? We'd like to see you, brother. Come on, what's going on? Why are you being shy
Yeah,
today?
it's just not really. I'm not really at home or anything. So is it all right if I just talk?
Yeah, go on then. Not a problem. But we do like to see you because it's nice to see your expressions.
Abbas, we need to speak to Mike
Sure.
as well, man. Eating those crisps.
I'm not long.
But
I'm not
hold
long
on.
finished
I
work.
think we should come to. I think we should negotiate something. You come on camera. We have this conversation because Abbas did make the rule earlier that you should be on camera to have your conversation.
That is true.
And we got this guy. This guy looks serious.
Oh, that's a troll. That's a troll.
only
Take it
just
off. It's a
finished
troll.
work.
It's a troll. It's a troll. Abbas, take it off.
I put him on. Why is he a troll?
That's a famous clip. I'm pretty sure at the end of the clip there was something very naughty at the end of it.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Oh, he
You
just
sure?
left.
How do you know all these people, Ijas?
It's a meme. It's the internet. I live on the internet.
Is it really? Gosh. Okay, Ehsan, go on then.
So-
Let's hear your colourful point today.
Colourful, you mean pathetic?
Okay. So I'm just wondering, Hamza, could you just tell me about this fine tuning you're talking about?
Well, you tell me.
Well, I mean, you're using it as a point, so just
You're the
tell me why you
atheist.
think it's a good point.
You're the atheist. Explain it to me.
Will you tell me why you think it's a good point?
No, you're the atheist. You tell me how fine tuning happened randomly.
Okay. Well, how's about this? We only have one universe, okay? So we don't know if it could be any different. So all these multiple possible alternatives that you bring up could they may
How
be
many
able to
alternatives could there
happen.
be other than the one we got?
Well, we've only got one universe, so this could be the only.
So what's the probability
we
that
just
the
talk about all
universe
these
is the way it
different
is?
constants. Well, the constants may not be any different.
What's the probability of the universe being the way it is?
No, you don't understand what I just said. The constants may not be any different because the constants may be the same they are, which means there's no possibility of any alternatives.
What are you on about?
Do you understand?
What?
No, you don't understand. Okay, let me try something a bit simpler. Have you heard of Douglas Adams' puddle analogy?
Yes.
Okay.
Ah, balls. Just
So do you
bloody
think-
tell me it.
Do you, Do you think that may be relevant to the?
I don't know what you're talking about. Just
Ehsan,
let me help. Can you just talk?
Hold on, Ehsan, you're assuming that constants exist, because they simply exist. Rather, you would acknowledge that you don't get systems from chaos, so there can't be constants if there's only chaos. So your inference there seemed to be absurd. That's why we didn't get it.
Systems. You get systems built up from physical processes. So that's how things happen.
Physical processes are processes because they're systems. So you get systems from systems. That's what you're basically saying.
You have
from processes, and processes are systems.
Processes that build up. That's how you get complexity.
Physical processes that will
photosynthesis.
Ehsan,
okay.
Ehsan.
So if I can go back to the Douglas Adams puddle analogy.
Ehsan, understand my point, please. I'm begging you. Ehsan, please understand my point. When you say you get systems from a process is a system. It's not chaotic nor random. It is systematic. So if you get systems from systems, then that's something which is ordered. It is a fact that you can't get order and systems from chaos, because then only chaos would exist. So you can't say we get systems from process to refute the point that you can't get that you can get chaos from systems. Systems from chaos. Do you understand that point, Ehsan? Yes or no? I'm going to wait for him to unmute. Do you, Dr. Iman, am I wrong in making that statement?
No, I agree with you. So if something appears to be chaotic but results in a system, it means it wasn't chaotic to start with.
Well, not necessarily, because you've got things like radioactive decay, where there is some sort of underlying chaos, but we can predict the rate of radioactive decay. So that's
the problem
one
with that example is that it's a common example. The problem with that example is the fact that you can predict the radioactive decay means that what we're not able to predict is the individual particle that breaks down to release the radiation, or the particle that breaks down and release the particle. But the fact that it's happening in a metered way means that there is a system there. There is something that's causing a regularity of breakdown, i.e. the half-life. We just don't understand. We just don't know how that is. And that's really pointing to the fact that we're going to, at some stage, know why a particular subatomic particle is breaking down to release that radiation. But because we don't know it now, it doesn't mean that it's random. It's just like saying that when I throw the dice, it appears that a random number comes up. But if I know all the variables that go with that, then that becomes no longer a random event. It's actually a very highly predictable event. But what prevents me from saying that this is not chaotic is my lack of knowledge. So this is all you're demonstrating is that because we don't know how the system works, that therefore there is randomness. This is just an admission of a lack of knowledge of the variables within the system. It doesn't make it actually
that's part of the problem,
random or
because
chaotic.
If we don't know much about a system, that it can appear chaotic. But it still.
So I agree. So it's an appearance it's an appearance as opposed to an actuality. That's the point that we're making.
Okay, so it may appear systemic. So if I can just go back to this puddle analogy, since you may not have heard about it. It says, if you imagine a puddle becomes conscious, okay, so it wakes up and it looks around and it sees that it fits its hole perfectly. The puddle can easily think that the hole was designed for it. Okay, so in fact the puddle was made to fit the hole. Another way I think about it is, if you have a glass of water, you fill the glass with water. The water takes the exact shape of the inside of the glass. Okay, so the water takes the shape of the inside of the glass because that came later. So you can't say that the universe was designed for us, because we came after all of that. So we evolved to fit in with the universe. So that's why the fine-tuning argument doesn't really work.
Fine-tuning has got nothing to do with us.
Well, if your point is that the fine-tuning is that it's such a rare occurrence, and that it's designed for us, then this.
I didn't say it's designed for us. I'm saying it's designed. No. I said it's designed for the universe to be the way it is.
Okay, well, as I said, we don't know if it's any different. And if you say,
well, no, what we can do is very simple. How many different ways could the universe have been with regards? with regards nuclear powers, with regards electromagnetism, with regards gravity, how many different alternatives could it have been?
Well, that was my first point. We don't know if there could be any other alternatives.
Well, we kind of do know.
We don't know if the constants could be any different, and we've only got one universe to compare it to. So it's quite possible that this could be the only way it could be.
Well, no, that's not true, is it? Why did gravity have to be the way it is?
Because we don't. It could be an inherent property of the particles.
What does that even mean?
Their mass attraction. Well, okay, it's a bit difficult for you. Okay,
it's
well,
not difficult. You're just
talking gobbledygook, mate.
No, I'm not. It's
something when you say it's an inherent
you're
property.
Reading books written by creationists, but okay, let's try a different example. Say,
well, no, let's use this example. No, let's stay on this example. How many ways could gravity have been different? The gravitational pull, could it have been different? Could it have been different?
Well, for a start, we don't know because we don't have any.
You don't know if it could have been different.
We don't know.
I thought it was random.
Examples, so...
Was it not random?
No, I wouldn't say gravity is random because it's based on its inherent properties of particles.
Are you saying the Big Bang wasn't random?
No, I didn't say the Big Bang was random at all.
Oh, so you believe the Big Bang was controlled?
As far as we know, it followed physical processes.
No, was it guided?
I have no evidence to say that it's guided externally.
But then if it's not guided, it's random, isn't it?
No, not necessarily. It could follow physical processes. No, it's something. So if you say
physical process, okay. Do you believe physical processes? One second. Do you believe physical processes can be random?
No, because they follow
the point.
They follow the inherent properties.
Can physical processes be random?
I'm not aware of any physical processes that are random. There are things that can appear random, but they follow.
What about random mutation?
Physical process.
What about random mutation? Is that a physical process?
That's a physical process, but
is it random?
When you describe it as random mutation,
is it random?
It's actually ordered change. It's actually ordered small changes.
It's ordered change. It's ordered change,
it's ordered
not random change.
It's what it is. Okay, if you let me a chance to explain. It's when you have you do have these mutations, and it's the specific trigger that causes that mutational change, and then you have creates favorable characteristics, which is
are all these mutations positive?
Selected.
Are all these mutations positive?
Nope, some are negative as well.
And what's the probability of getting a positive mutation?
I don't know.
Absurd. Anyway.
No, it's not.
I think Hassan, if I can just come in there,
okay.
Hassan.
Can I? Go on.
I think you're being a little bit unfair here, really, because if we look at, for example, the force of gravity, if it's out by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of decimal places, just 1 point in hundreds and hundreds of decimal places, the universe either explodes at such a speed that you don't have enough gravity to make matter, planets, the sun, and everything that we would need to have life, any type of life in the universe, right? If the force of gravity is weakened by just, again, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of decimal places, then it simply implodes back on itself, back into a singularity. And again, there are no planets, there are no stars, nothing basically forms, and therefore there is no life. So I think the point that we're trying to make, Ehsan, is this: that when you add up all of these different probabilities, you see, it becomes infinitesimally small for it just to have happened that way. And on the other side of the coin, it's infinitesimally large that this was somehow orchestrated, and that is what the fine-tuning argument is for the universe. Now one of the things, Ehsan, that I learned, and is that from Imran? Imran's put that up. I'll let Imran come in there. The thing is this, Ehsan, if you just take into consideration gravity, the cosmological constant, and the strong and weak nuclear forces, if you just have these three probabilities, the probability of these three reaching where they need to be for the universe to be able to sustain life is like one atom in the entire known universe. And there are at least another 40 laws of physics that have to conform to those type of probability. Now, the point here, Ehsan, is this, right? I think if you were reasonable, I don't think you would be arguing that this somehow just happened by itself. You could say, well, we don't know maybe how it happened, but yes, you're right. It is extremely, in terms of probability, very, 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 we're going to say very low. We're talking about like one atom in the entire universe, right?
Yeah.
For it to just have happened by itself, right? So
yeah,
I think you
don't really.
Ehsan.
I mean, you're just repeating the same.
I think, Ehsan, I'll let you come in, but I think, Ehsan,
Sorry,
what you would have to accept, Ehsan, is that from our stance to argue that there had to be something that was responsible for that level of intricacy and that level of measuring things out in those probabilities, and to not have faith in some unknown material cause, I don't think it's an unreasonable stance for us to actually take, Ehsan, to be honest.
No, I'm saying I understand.
So I just wanted to, sorry, guys.
With it.
So I just want to, because I think the way that the argument is being put forward from yourself, Ehsan, is interesting, because the puddle analogy is quite a common analogy. And, we happen to find ourselves in the universe, so of course it fits us. And this is what the puddle is saying. And you're saying that, look, we only have one set of data, so we can't compare it to other sets of data. And those are reasonable points, but actually they're misapplied in the example of fine-tuning. And the reason that they're misapplied, so this is a graph I've just put up on the screen, and this shows various constants that I'm not going to name them all. That people can just look this up. There's lots of these constants that are available. There's, as Brother Abbas mentioned. And what's plotted here is that the effects on the potential life-permitting universe existing if these variables are changed. And what you see, so these are basically the plots of these different variables here. And you see in this small area that I'm sort of just circling, this green area, is the only range within which a life-permitting universe exists. In a universe where life can possibly exist, ourselves would be included within that.
Yeah.
Now, now when you see what the potential constants could have been, i.e. they could have been different. If they were different, there would be no one there to say that they were different, because there wouldn't be any life there to make that statement.
Yeah.
So the fact that we are within this universe and it has the properties in terms of the constants to give a life-permitting universe tells us that we are in a very rare a rare set of constants that have come together to permit this. Now the question here is, how rare is this? Is it something that we would expect that reasonably could happen? So I'm just going to turn my camera off. Is this something that we would expect that reasonably can happen, or is it very, very unlikely? Now the numbers here are really staggering. I mean, they're really staggering. And what I would suggest that you do, Ehsan, is actually just to look at some of the constants.
Sure. No,
I understand. What you'll start to see is that so the numbers are. Let me just stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
So the numbers that we're talking about are in the magnitude of being larger than the number of particles within the universe. And if you were to move. And imagine you take every single subatomic particle within the universe, and you had one of them, and that one particle you tag with a color or something to recognize it with.
In the interest of
the chances of our universe being as it is to permit life would be the equivalent of you being blindfolded and told to pick an atom randomly from within the universe, and it happens to be that red painted atom. I mean, that's.
Okay. I know what you're saying.
Please,
one second, Ehsan. Go on. Just using the doctor's example, that scenario, you'd be 10 billion times more likely than that. So it's not. It doesn't stop there. It actually.
I get that, but let's just say, even if the constants could be different, okay, and we don't know if they can be. Even if the constants could be different, and it's exceedingly rare that things turned out as they are, that doesn't necessarily mean it was made to be for life. okay? Because even if you had like a 1 in a billion, because you have lotteries of 1 in 150 million, and somebody wins a lottery of 1 in 150 million. So but
this isn't 1 in 150 million, is it?
I know.
What are you having to posit? But the only way.
If it's, I just want to make this point. Even please. I give you the point that it's exceedingly rare. Of course, we wouldn't be here if it was different, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was made for us. The fact that it's exceedingly rare.
What's required? We understand the point. You're saying that okay, fine, this is very rare, but doesn't mean that somehow this is specifically made for us. There's a problem with that view, and the problem with that view is this. And the plot that I showed you was actually doing the physics, changing the constants to see what the result would be, and that small triangle was where there was a life permitting use. Now we're in that universe. The question is, why? How is that the case?
How is
now
the question?
The only response to the rarity of this event occurring. So, for example, someone winning the lottery, hundreds and thousands and millions of people will be doing the lottery, and one of them will win. The only reasonable thing that people have tried to do, I think it's unreasonable, but the only reasonable position that people have tried to do is to say, look, there are multiverses, there are millions and millions of universes, infinite number of universes, so it's bound to happen at some stage. Now, what that is positing something even more incredible to try and explain where we are in this scenario.
And also, Imran, can I just
without any evidence, there's no evidence for a multiverse.
And also, Ehsan, your analogy of somebody winning the lottery, saying 150 million people, right? The problem with your analogy is this, Ehsan. If your neighbor, let's say, won the lottery, okay, and then the next week's draw, they won the lottery again, and then the week after they won it again, and that happened for the next 50 years, would you attribute that to chance?
It's possible by chance, but I would say we'll want to look into that a bit more detail, because
would you reasonably
attribute that to chance, Ehsan? Let's be honest here.
I wouldn't know, but then we know people can fix the
lottery.
You wouldn't. So we know that's a possibility.
So that's
we know it's a possibility that people can fix the lottery.
The point.
Yeah,
Ehsan, that's the point. The point here is not somebody winning the lottery out of 150.
No. The question is Abbas. The question is, why wouldn't he attribute it to chance?
Yeah.
Why not chance?
Okay. Because what's going to be more likely? We know people can fix the lottery, so somebody winning the lottery more than once was probably more likely that someone has fixed the lottery.
But why not chance?
Than it by chance. Well,
why not chance?
I've just told you because it's more likely, because we know people can possibly fix the lottery. That's more likely someone did fix the lottery if somebody has won it more than once.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying that on balance, balance of probability, Ehsan, what you're saying is that it's highly unlikely, because rationally the probability of somebody winning it every single week for the next 50 years is it can happen, it is possible, but it is so improbable that you would never reasonably accept it as a rational possibility. So the point here is, why do you do that to the universe? Because the universe, the statistics for the universe actually far outweigh the lottery.
Look at Mohit's example. Winning the lottery 10,000 times in a row while getting struck by lightning each time is more probable than a life-permitting universe.
Okay. Well, firstly, those calculations done by those creationists.
Why couldn't the universe have been fixed the way it is? Why couldn't somebody have fixed the universe the way it is, rather than this absurd chance?
Okay. Well, firstly, there's no evidence for that. But secondly,
there's no evidence for somebody fixing the lottery.
Okay. Firstly, we're going back to the point about we don't know what comes after us. So let's just imagine that we have global warming, all humanity dies, and a new species evolves that fits perfectly into.
Here's some butts for pots and pans. There'd be no need to tinkers. What about?
Yep. And so the species that comes after us, that is much more suited to live in hotter temperatures, could say that those hot temperatures was fine-tuned for them to evolve.
I just want to say
we not necessarily be the end product.
I don't think you understand the argument of fine-tuning, to be honest.
Ehsan, I just want to say that, because you made this statement that
you do.
And I'm just going to post something in the chat. So the paper that a paper that I put up is actually from Harvard University, and it's from a physics department. It's not by a creationist. Published in 2007. I've put the link in the paper. Have a look at it.
Sure.
So what I'd suggest is don't write off this as a creationist thing, because these constants were not discovered by specifically creationists.
Yeah, I'm saying they're used by creationists. Yeah.
So the numbers aren't exaggerated. The numbers just are, and they need to be explained. And I think that's the issue here. And the explanation that, look, we were really lucky. Some people may buy that, but when your luck is this amazing, I love Brother Makit's example of the winning the lottery and being struck by lightning every single time and doing that several times in a row. If you're that lucky, then I would say that somebody up there is looking after you. And I think that's the problem that it raises. This is why the fine-tuning argument. It's nice to think, yeah, but if you want to say that actually no, this is completely random, you have to have a reasonable explanation for that, and that's difficult to come up with. If I'm, from my perspective.
Okay, I mean, obviously you're already inclined to believe in the God, so that puts you down that path.
And you're already inclined to disbelieve in a God, so that puts you down that path. I just have two things.
No, because
first thing is when
unleashes your evidence. Sorry, you were about to say something.
Sorry, which is it's very strange when the top boys asked you to come on. You said you were too tired. Then you turn up here. That the child is a bit confused by that, But the second thing is, what is particularly interesting to me is you started off by basing your argument on randomness and chaos, and then at the end of it, you said that randomness and chaos does not exist. You actually accepted Dr. Imran's and my claim. But it's good to see that you can learn, and it's not too simple for you. Us hacks, we don't know too much about science, but that seems to be something that we were aware of. We're not as trained as you are, Almighty One. But I just wanted to put that out there. You did eventually accept our answer on that point. Why is that?
No, I accepted. Yeah, okay, let me explain. Firstly, I still stick to the point that we don't know if the constants are any different. But when you brought up the possibility that the constants could be different, I accepted it for the point of the discussion to say that even if it is even if it is exceedingly rare, that still doesn't mean it was made for us. I just accepted it for the point of the discussion.
No, you actually accepted it, and when Dr. Imran, Dr. Imran, you're going to make the point. Please go ahead.
No, go. Please go ahead.
No. He made it towards you. I want you to respond to him because
no. I don't know if I'm going to make the same point as you. So please continue. Finish your sentence.
Okay. So Dr. Imran asked you, is that process random or is it not random? And you said it's not random. It's just something that we can't account for. So you accepted his claim on variables, right? So therefore, you didn't put it as a hypothesis.
Yeah, I said that at the beginning. Yeah,
totally. No, you dismissed that at the start, and you accepted it at the end.
No, as I've just said, I accepted it at the beginning, but when you brought up the point about the variables could be different, even though I said it doesn't, there's no evidence they could be different. When you said that they could be different, I accepted it for the point of understanding your argument and making the counter argument. That
why couldn't it be different? Where are you getting this from?
Hold on, Hamza, don't allow him to shift. Go on,
You're
making up.
I've said the same point to you about 3 times.
No. Dr. Imran made a very specific question. Is it random or is it not? Yes, you give a similar answer to Hamza after having accepted Dr. Imran's point. So the thing is, you can't say it was just a hypothetical answer to Hamza's claim. You accepted. Look, people in the comments are accepting that this is the case. Here is the thing, Hassan. If it was just me and you, I get if you come to that conclusion, but you don't have all of us here and everyone in the chat who witnessed it on multiple occasions. Dr. Imran, what were you going to say? I apologize, Hamza, but Dr. Imran was about to make a point.
No, that's fine. So basically, the point that I was going to make, so Jazakallah khair for that, you really nailed that point, Tijaz. So the point that I was going to make is that you said that the variables could or could not be different, and I'm saying that what the scientists, the physicists have done is they can they know the relationship between the constants and how they affect the physical characteristics of the universe. This is the calculations they would do. If gravity was this, what would be the effect on the universe? If the speed of light was this, what would be the effect on the universe? So you can actually mathematically establish an effect of changing the variable on the universe, and this has been done.
You can postulate what the effect would be. That doesn't necessarily
this is the beautiful thing. I love the way you use that, Ehsan. I love the postulation, because this is what physics is. It's based upon mathematical models of what the universe would be like, and then the evidence is established later to support the model. So the postulation for these models is based upon the current constants that we have. And now so the relationships that are established for these constants with each other and the effect on the universe is from observation of the current universe that we have. So evidence-based empirical starting point. And then what you do is you adjust the equation. So if A plus B equals C, you say, well, if I keep increasing C, I know what's going to happen to A or B, because you can have that relationship with them. And you can, so they will do the same thing here, and they can plot the effect on the way the universe would be. Would there be any matter? Would there be particles? Would we be able to generate water, for example? Would carbon form? Hamza's favorite topic. All of these things, you can postulate them, and you can work out actually that the window in which we have a viable universe is actually this narrow compared to where all of the possibilities of where the constants could go. So we know that we are in a very finely tuned universe. Now then the question becomes, are we just really, really lucky? Or is there something else? Now, we're not saying this is the only argument. This is actually a cumulative argument, and there's many, many things that point towards. I mean, we had that argument earlier on about rationality. We're talking about objective morals. We've had this discussion with you. We've spoken about, so many things. And this is just another nail in the coffin, I would say, of the idea that we are just a random generated process.
Because I think to say finely tuned, you need to show that it could be tuned. So if I give you another way, if I showed you a guitar and the guitar played a perfect tune, somebody could have tuned that guitar, but that guitar could have just come off the factory sounding completely perfect.
So it had a creator,
perfect note without anybody tuning it in the first place. So you need to show that even if it does seem like it's finely tuned, we need to show that the tuning is possible.
Yeah, the factory tuned it, mashallah, it had a creator. We completely accept this. Thank you, Ehsan, for qualifying our point.
I think, Ehsan, you're missing the point here, really. Ehsan, because the point here, you're missing the point, because intuitively, when we see something incredibly complex and well measured, we assume rationally that it couldn't have just been thrown together through some random effect. And that's
it's by evolution, probably.
And Ehsan, that is something. We're talking about physics here, not evolution. We're talking about the beginning of the universe. Okay, we're not talking about evolution. I mean, to be honest, Ehsan, I think, with all due respect, I think you're being a little bit disingenuous, because we're talking about physics. We're talking about the beginning of the universe,
and he's talking about biology.
And then you just throw a red herring in about evolution, thinking somehow.
Sorry. I thought you were going.
So you're making a point, and that's just being, I think, unreasonable. I think
the thing is, biology is wrecked as well, and so is chemistry.
The point I'm making, Ehsan, is this:
no, it's not.
That whenever we see something that is incredibly measured out and precise, we automatically assume, reasonably, I would say, that it has been designed that way. But when it comes to the universe. When it comes to the universe, Ehsan, what you're doing is you're offering these examples of guitars and puddles, when in reality, or lottery, when in reality we're talking about, as Imran said, and as Hamza said, one particle of matter in the entire known universe, and you color it a different color, and then you've got, was it 10 billion times more chance of locating that one electron or particle? I mean, those are sort of ludicrous probabilities that we're talking about, and you're talking about puddles and guitars, and you're talking about the lottery, somebody winning it once, as if somehow that is somehow equal to what we're talking about. And I just think it's not really reasonable to do that.
no, okay, it's an analogy. But I mean, if you look at the solar system, that's physics. You got the sun at the center. You got the planets that orbit. You got the moons that orbit the planets. That's all. It does look perfectly ordered, but it all follows, beautiful gravity and forces that way. So,
are you saying it couldn't be any other way?
Well, as I said, we don't know if it could be any other way.
Is that what the scientific community is saying, or is it just you?
The scientific, well, no, it's not just me. The scientific community.
So which renowned physicist? Stephen Hawking say this?
Well, actually, I mean, Stephen Hawking said if the universe is fine-tuned for anything, it's for making black holes.
Did Stephen Hawking believe that the universe couldn't be any other way?
It's probably one of many who said that, I think, yes.
Well, he said that the universe couldn't be any other way.
I don't know if the
so the universe is the way it is deliberately. That's what you're saying.
No. No one's saying
yes.
Well, only theists saying it's deliberately. But I'm saying is even if it couldn't be any other way, we don't know if we don't.
How would we know if it could be any other way? What are you talking about here? How would you determine? How would you determine gravitational force, for example, and electromagnetism force? How is this determined? What governs it?
I mean, from our current understanding, it's governed by their inherent properties. We don't know.
So they govern themselves.
We'd have to find, well, from their inherent properties, we'd have to find an alternative universe and see if things could be different there.
You got to stop using the phrase inherent properties, because then that just belies the question. Where do those properties come from? Or from other inherent properties. Okay, where do those inherent properties come from? From other inherent properties. It just goes back and back until you can't say any longer inherent properties. They have to have come from something deliberately. Again, systems
not deliberately.
Don't produce. So it's not deliberately. So then it's random then.
No. Well, sorry, when you say deliberate, then you're
if it's
implying
not
that there's
random,
an intention behind it.
Well, yes, because it's ordered.
Do you believe in the Big Bang? Do you believe in the Big Bang?
No. Well, firstly, it's not a case of either deliberate or random.
Do you believe in the Big Bang?
With regards, okay.
Oh no, it is.
Okay, I'm just answering you. I believe
in the Big Bang.
Is the best. Will you shut up and just let me answer your question, okay?
Will you shut up and answer my question?
Whoa. I'm just trying to answer your question. If you stop
answer the bloody question. Do you believe in the Big Bang? Yes or no?
I accept the Big Bang as the the best.
Was it a controlled explosion or was it random?
The expansion of the universe after the start of the Big Bang was following by its physical processes. So
was it controlled or was it just chaos, random?
I wouldn't say it's random because it followed physical processes, but it may appear controlled.
Why do you keep saying physical processes are not random, where you believe in natural selection, which is based on random natural processes? I don't get it. I can't marry you up.
No, I know you don't.
Right. So natural selection is based on random mutation, yet you don't think natural processes are random. Whereas the random mutation in according to the natural selection idea, is a natural process. So natural processes can be random. So why do you keep saying, oh, it's not random because it's a natural process, when your worldview says random mutation, which is a natural process, is random?
Well,
I don't understand it.
It means it's the appearance of it. So it's
no. Random mutation is something happens within the cell. Yeah? Is it not random
within
then?
the DNA? Within the DNA.
Is it random or not?
Well, it appears random.
Is it random or is it deliberate?
It's not, there you go. That's a false dichotomy.
What's the opposite of random? Forgive me. Sorry. Ordered. We're laughing at.
It's not a false dichotomy. It's the law of the excluded middle. Either it's random or it's deliberate. It can't be something other than it. So take your appeal to fallacy out of the window.
Okay. I mean, it
can appear. Good night, Ehsan. Abbas has got to sleep. Right. Hamza's gone.
Okay.
Imran has.
I've got work tomorrow, so.
Nice God, may God help you.
I feel so sorry for your patience, mate, with this mentality.
I'm sure Ehsan's an excellent doctor. Ehsan, you know what I would say
is he a human doctor?
Yeah, he's a human, and I'm glad he's in the
God.
life-limiting universe so that we can also help other people.
And I've come on today as well. So
yeah, I can. It sounds like you're still there, actually, Hassan. So what I would say is, you know, the argument for from the anthropic principle, the argument from the complexity of the universe, the fine-tuning argument is really it's quite a profound one, and I think it's really important to understand that there is a need to explain the way the universe is without just saying, look, we're lucky. And I think that's the argument that you're presenting, maybe not in that, not as a crude way as that, but that's really what it comes down to, that we just happen to be here, and you know, so what, or we're just really lucky to be here, when all of the calculations that we do tell us that actually, speaking from a physics perspective, this is very, very unlikely a scenario for a universe to end up in. And I think that needs an explanation. And then all the other points we've made previously on other topics about atheism. I think you pointed to the fact that we may be holding these views because we are inclined to believe in a creator. And Ijaz pointed out the fact that that's something that can be put back to you, that you may be inclined to disbelieve in these things, because what you posited instead is, or what not, maybe you're not personally, but is multiverses, which are no, which do not really account for where we find ourselves, and there's no evidence for them either. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Have a look at what we presented to you, particularly look at the fine tuning of, say, look at some of the constants and look at how finely tuned they are, and then maybe try and think of a way of explaining why that's the case.
Okay. I suggest you also look up, you know, some of the rebuttals to fine tuning as well, so that we all broaden our minds.
Can I leave you with some homework, Ihsan?
Go on.
Find me something from our human experience that where some information has just come randomly from our anywhere in our human experience. Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
Okay, within our human experience, find something that came together that contains information randomly. No, homework.
Okay.
Homework.
I'll have a think.
Yeah. I look forward to your answer.
Imran, just finish what you were going to say, and then we'll end the stream, inshallah.
Carol Wright's a Christian. If you want to have a little bash at her, she's an old lady in America.
Okay, but Imran, just finish.
Demolish this question on the screen, though.
Sure, Ihsan, we wish you all the best. You take care. Have a good evening.
Okay. Bye.
Nazem, you just answer this chat.
You just confused us. We're gonna fight after this, Doctor.
Did I say Ihsan? I said Ihsan, not Ijaz.
Started
Nazem, do you want to answer this question on the screen?
Yeah, just very quickly. I was going to recommend a book by Mufti Taqi Usmani. The book's called Approaches to Chronic Sciences, and he more or less addresses all these questions in that.
Just answer him now. Okay, one, the Quran, because it claims to be
the
lectures of Abraham, and if you look in the Quran, you'll see all the prophets of God, all the ones. So the God of Abraham, we know who he is and who he sent and which prophets he sent, which Quran confirms. First thing, how do you know Quran you have now is Muhammad had not a redaction? Well, we know that because the Quran was a community project when it was put together, and we know that it was memorized, and it was also written down, and it was all married up. And why is Bukhari more reliable than Muhammad's sayings than the Gospel of Jesus? Because you don't know who authored the Gospel of Jesus' words. None of them were eyewitnesses to what's written in the Gospels, or should I say gossips. Whereas when the hadith we have are narrated by people we can verify, see if they were there, see if they told the truth. All right, next. Latest Clifton. Bye now. Carol writes, as I live and breathe. All right, come on. I'll give you a massive build-up. Let's have it. Been threatening to come on Hamza's Den so many times, and here you are.
Carol, we can't hear if you're trying to speak, by the way.
Maybe she's away from a computer.
Carol! No, she's an old lady. She shuffles about and that.
Oh.
She's really abusive, though, against Islam. And she's like got these crazy Christian ideas. Oh well,
Carol. Maybe she's gone Carolyn early. I mean,
shut up, Ijaz.
Carol, thank you for coming on.
Looks like Carol was wrong.
Bye, Carol. Have a lovely evening. Good night. Okay. Everybody's criticizing me in the well, not everyone. Some people are criticizing me in the comments. I want to end the stream early. It's 1:07 a.m. We have neighbors, and it's 3 hours and 29 minutes into the stream. And Doctor, you've probably got work in the morning, right?
Alhamdulillah.
Exactly. So
He didn't say yes. He didn't say yes. That's what I'm going to point out.
Well, we need to end it sometime. Okay. I think on that bombshell, we can, inshallah. Hamza, what have you got coming up next on your channel?
What day is it today? I've lost track of time. Sunday, isn't it? It's Sunday today.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Tomorrow.
It's Monday now.
Tuesday, Wednesday. I think we've got EFDawah before me next. I've got the shop
Exactly,
tomorrow.
you say
We're back in the
coming
shop. I fixed my laptop, so we're going to be back live from the shop 3 o'clock till 5 o'clock. You see what goes on in the shop. Fab Hijab, we got you covered. Then obviously Thursday we're back here with Dawah Clinic, if I'm not wrong. And then Friday, big lineup in the arena. We got the Sheikh from San Diego is back in the house. Brother Jake is in the house. Brother Hashim is in the house, and Brother Saki Hussein is in the house. I hope some Christians call in, man. Woo! Get fishing on Discord. Let's get those contestants.
Ijaz, have you got anything coming out on your channel?
Not to my knowledge, but if I do, you can find me on Calling Christians, Ijaz the Trini, or you can find me on Clubhouse, where we've just been beating up bad Christian arguments all day long.
Alhamdulillah. Dr. Imran, everybody's screaming for you to put more stuff out on your channel. When is that happening?
Yeah, I've got 2 videos in the pipelines. It's just finding the time to around work to try and sort of put them together. But within a week or 2, inshallah, they should be up. I'll prioritize them. Jazakallah khair.
Alhamdulillah. And
let me just add. Sorry. On Wednesday, I've got a chat with a young girl, English girl, inshallah. So that will go up on the channel as well. Just kind of why Christianity is not true kind of talk. So that'll be going on as well. And also, I'm getting together with the lads tomorrow to challenge this concept of the Kaaba. I got to do a bit of editing and put some of that apostate prophets whiny kind of claims in it to try and mix it up. But that's going to be really, really informative, and that'll probably be out sometime this week as well. Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Brother Nazam, any closing statements?
I just heard that Makit has a diary and it's called the Guinness Book of World Records.
All right, good for Makit.
So have you gone from the Stallone to the Chuck Norris? I'm going to have to get a Chuck Norris meme now.
Oh, no. I'm still on Nazambo. So, yeah, that was a Nazambo quote, by the way.
Looking good, though, bro. Looking sharp.
All right, guys. Inshallah, with that, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.